Chapter 365. When Wenhui heard Grand Elder Shinqin's words, he hesitated for a while. According to Grand Elder Shinqin's attitude, she obviously intended to protect Dongyu. A green netherworld realm powerhouse with divine technique was ranked among the top in the entire Green Lotus Sword sect, so he could not be lost in vain. But this Dongyu, he was someone Xinghui wanted. Xinghui obviously took a fancy to Dongyu's Primal Chaos grade and wanted to force him to sell his Primal Chaos secret art. As a result, a conflict would inevitably break out between Xinghui and Grand Elder Shinqin. On the one hand, it was the Alliance Master of the Life League, Xinghui, who gave him a bright future. On the other hand, it was Grand Elder Shinqin of the Green Lotus Sword sect, the uncrowned king of the entire Green Lotus Sword sect. Suddenly, he was unable to make a decision. Huh? Wenhui? What? You don't intend to obey my orders? Or do you think that you can do whatever you want in our Green Lotus Sword sect just because you broke through to the prominent divine realm and condensed the White Tiger sacred body? Shinqin looked at the indifferent Wenhui and her expression suddenly turned cold. Wenhui, who was still in a dilemma, suddenly made a decision when he heard Shinqin's words. Unlike other sects, there was only one person who could really make decisions in the Green Lotus Sword sect, and that was the first Grand Elder Shinqin, who could mobilize the power of the Green Lotus Divine Sword and possessed the divine technique and the White Tiger sacred body. Whether it was other Grand Elders or Sect Master Tan Feng of the Green Lotus Sword sect, they all had to follow the will of Grand Elder Shinqin. In the entire Green Lotus Sword sect, no one could resist the orders of Grand Elder Shinqin. In this case, even if he really disobeyed the will of Alliance Master Xinghui and left with Shinqin and sat on the throne of the Sect Master of the Green Lotus Sword sect, he would still have to submit to Shinqin's majesty. Just like the current Sect Master Tan Feng, he had to ask for Grand Elder Shinqin's permission for many major matters in the sect. With his strength in the prominent divine realm, why would he need to run such a sect? Moreover, he even had to risk offending Xinghui, who had an almighty behind him? Thinking of this, Wenhui suddenly made a decision in his heart. Wait, the matter has not been properly resolved. How can I let it go so easily? Shinqin turned around and her gaze landed on Wenhui. There was a faint trace of coldness in her eyes as she said, "My order just now was very clear. Bring Dongyu back for treatment and this matter is over. As for your Wen clan's losses, our Green Lotus Sword sect will compensate you." Could it be that my words were not clear enough? Dongyu colluded with outsiders and harmed our Wen clan's prodigy, causing our Wen clan's prodigy to be destroyed. Grand Elder, please hand Dongyu over to our Wen clan. Our Wen clan doesn't need any compensation from the sect. Dong Zhongming's expression changed when he heard this. Dongyu was the Dong clan's prodigy with the highest chance of entering the prominent divine realm. Once he entered the prominent divine realm, his status would be even higher than Wenhui, who had condensed a saint-grade battle physique. Whether the Dong clan could rise again in the future all depended on Dongyu. No matter what, they couldn't watch Dongyu be captured by Wenhui. Thus, they hurriedly said, "Grand Elder, our Dong clan has already recognized our mistakes. Furthermore, our Dong clan is willing to take out half of our assets to compensate the Wen clan's losses and resolve the misunderstanding between our two clans. We hope that Vice Sect Master Wen can see that we are willing to turn over a new leaf and give us a chance to atone for our sins." Wenhui, you also heard it. The Dong clan has already recognized their mistakes. We are all disciples of the same sect and will see each other frequently. There's no need to make things so stiff. Don't you think so? Shinqin said slowly. At this time, the other Supreme Elders who had rushed over also nodded in agreement. That's right. Supreme Elder Shinqin's words are reasonable. We all belong to the same sect, so why do we have to make things so difficult? Where it is possible to make mistakes, we should spare them. That's enough. Sect Master Wenhui should stop before going too far. Even the Sect Master of the Green Lotus Sword sect, Tan Feng, said, "Our Green Lotus Sword sect has to act according to the rules. Since the Dong clan has already admitted their mistakes and admitted defeat, let's stop here. Do we have to kill them? Moreover, when you fought with Dongyu and the others, the Dong clan and the disciples of our Green Lotus Sword sect were affected. If we really want to pursue this matter, I'm afraid you won't be able to shirk your responsibility. When Wenhui thought of what Xinghui had said earlier, he couldn't help but grit his teeth and resolutely said, "No, our Wen clan can ignore other matters. We don't even need the compensation from the sect. However, Dong Yu must be handed over to us." Seeing that Wenhui was still so stubborn despite the persuasion of the Grand Elders, a cold light flashed in Shinqin's eyes. Wenhui, are you going to ignore the rules and regulations of our Green Lotus Sword sect? Don't you understand the principle of stopping before going too far? Do you think that you can do whatever you want in the Green Lotus Sword sect after entering the Vision Domain and cultivating the White Tiger Sacred Body? Do you not care about anyone's opinions and attitudes? Behind Wenhui, Wen Chuanshi, Wen Xing, Wen Hua, and the others saw that Shinqin and the other Grand Elders' attitudes were getting colder and colder. They couldn't help but become anxious. Wenhui, since the Dong clan has already recognized their mistakes and is willing to compensate, then let's forget it. As long as the Dong clan is willing to admit their mistakes to our Wen clan, we can be lenient towards the Dong clan. Alliance Master Xinghui, please persuade Wenhui. Among them, Wenhua set his sights on Xinghui. However, there was a faint smile on Xinghui's face and he didn't say anything. He had already seen that the one who really meant what she said in the Green Lotus Sword sect was the first Grand Elder, Shinqin. If he couldn't break Shinqin's prestige and trample on her, then even if Wenhui could become the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect, he would probably be like a puppet. This was not what he wanted. Right now, he could use this matter to destroy Shinqin's face and trample on her, letting everyone in the Green Lotus Sword sect understand that an era that belonged to Wenhui was about to begin. If Wenhui couldn't completely control the Green Lotus Sword sect, then what was the point of Xinghui pouring so much energy into him? At this moment, Shinqin and the others seemed to have noticed Xinghui and said indifferently, "So it's Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's Grand Elder Xinghui. Sorry for the disrespect. The sect is unfortunate to have made a joke of itself in front of Grand Elder Xinghui. Since the sect's matters have not been resolved yet, I can't receive Grand Elder Xinghui. Tan Feng, take Grand Elder Xinghui to the reception hall to rest. I will come after I resolve this matter." In truth, from the attitude of Wenhui and Xinghui, she could already tell that their Green Lotus Sword sect's deputy sect master Wenhui must have a close relationship with the ambitious Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's Grand Elder Xinghui. This was why she wanted to suppress this matter as soon as possible. Receiving the order, Sect Master Tan Feng of the Green Lotus Sword sect acknowledged and gestured to Xinghui. "Grand Elder Xinghui, please. There's no hurry. I'm a little curious about how your esteemed sect will deal with this matter." Xinghui said with a faint smile. "As the saying goes, don't wash your dirty linen in public. If Grand Elder Xinghui sees this, it's really shameful. I ask Grand Elder Xinghui to leave first." Tan Feng hurriedly said again, his tone gradually growing heavier. At this time, Wenhui also understood that Shinqin must be afraid of his relationship with Xinghui, which was why she wanted to protect the Dong family. At this time, he had no way out. "Sect Master, please don't be impatient. Grand Elder Xinghui is a guest I invited. My purpose is to let Grand Elder Xinghui witness whether some people in our Green Lotus Sword sect think they can cover the sky with one hand just because they have some power." Xinghui nodded at Wenhui's quick-witted reaction. "Since I was invited by Deputy Sect Master Wenhui to witness this matter, I naturally have to fulfill my duty. I don't want some people to use their power to cover the sky and frame my good friend. But this is an internal matter of our Green Lotus Sword sect. Since it's an internal matter, it should be resolved by our Green Lotus Sword sect. Although the Great Elder of the Qingsu Sword sect is a Great Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he can't possibly extend his hand into our Green Lotus Sword sect, can he? Or is it because the Hunyuan Heavenly sect has joined the Sword Shadow sect, and its power has greatly increased, causing your Hunyuan Heavenly sect's people's ambition to rapidly expand, and you want to incorporate our Green Lotus Sword sect into your Hunyuan Heavenly sect's territory?" Shinqin's words gradually became stern. "I came here on behalf of myself, not the Hunyuan Heavenly sect. My identity here is not the Hunyuan Heavenly sect's Grand Elder, but Wenhui's good friend. Now that my friend is about to face unfair treatment, shouldn't I come with him to uphold justice? I think Grand Elder Shinqin doesn't want such a talented genius disciple of your Green Lotus Sword sect to be persecuted by some ambitious people in your sect and eventually abandon the Green Lotus Sword sect, right? A trace of anger flashed in Shinqin's eyes. Although Tsing Hui did not point out who was the so-called ambitious disciple of the Green Lotus Sword sect, anyone could guess that he was referring to her, the uncrowned king of the Green Lotus Sword sect. That's right, Dong Yu is relying on the fact that he is going to be the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect. In the past few months, he has wantonly persecuted our Wen family, using all kinds of methods. Even the young juniors of our Green Lotus Sword sect who have cultivated Saint rank Aura Chi were not willing to let go. If such a person becomes the sect master of our Green Lotus Sword sect, our Green Lotus Sword sect will definitely be overshadowed in the future, and there will no longer be the slightest peace to speak of. Therefore, I still insist that Dong Yu must be handed over to our Wen family to deal with. When Huey's words were firm, and his tone was filled with unyielding determination. Hearing Wen Huey's words, which almost tore off all pretense of cordiality, the Wen family members trembled in fear, as if they did not know Wen Hui at all, and looked at him with a trace of fear in their eyes. The other members of the Green Lotus Sword sect were all aghast. They glanced at Wen Hui, who was standing together with Tsing Hui, and then at the first Grand Elder Shinqin, whose face had become incomparably gloomy, and their hearts sank at the same time. Something big had happened. Something big was going to happen to their Green Lotus Sword sect. Chapter 366. Could. Great Elder Shinqin was so angry that she laughed. Wen Hui, although you have broken through to the prominent divine stage and condensed the White Tiger saintly body, becoming the most outstanding junior of our Green Lotus Sword sect and having high hopes of becoming the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect in the future, you have become arrogant and conceited just because you think you have some strength. You have disobeyed the orders of me, the Great Elder of the Green Lotus Sword sect, again and again, destroying the atmosphere of unity of the Great Elder of the Green Lotus Sword sect. Even if such a disciple has broken through to the prominent divine stage, it is harmful to the stable development of the Green Lotus Sword sect. Therefore, as the Great Elder of the Green Lotus Sword sect, I must let you understand that there are still people in the Green Lotus Sword sect who can suppress you. As long as you are in the Green Lotus Sword sect, you can't be lawless. As soon as she finished speaking, the aura of an expert at the peak of the prominent divine stage burst out from Shinqin's body. Even though she didn't use the White Tiger's saintly body like Wen Hui, she still relied on her exquisite control of true qi to form a powerful impact, which made Wen Hui's expression change greatly. Although he had stepped into the prominent divine stage and cultivated the White Tiger's saintly body, how could he compare with Shinqin, who had stepped into the peak of the prominent divine stage for dozens of years? Under the suppression of her aura, he had a feeling that the circulation of true qi was sluggish, and even the White Tiger's saintly body was difficult to smoothly manifest. Tsing Hui, who was at the side, measured the aura of the two and immediately understood that Wen Hui couldn't be Shinqin's opponent. Not to mention that Shinqin had the ability to borrow the Green Lotus Divine Sword and the Divine Technique. Just her use and understanding of the White Tiger's saintly body had far surpassed Wen Hui's. Even at the prominent divine stage, she had almost reached the peak of the prominent divine stage in terms of power exploration and research. Even if Tsing Hui used the same White Tiger saintly body as Shinqin, he would definitely lose to her. Fortunately, he didn't awaken the White Tiger's saintly body, but the Golden Crow's saintly body. Supreme Elder Shinqin, at the end of the day, this matter is merely a conflict between two juniors of your Green Lotus Sword sect. Why should a Supreme Elder like you interfere in a conflict between juniors? Besides, I remember that your Green Lotus Sword sect has a tradition of letting vice sect masters compete with each other, and after the results of the competition are out, the winner can also suppress the loser and use his reputation to establish his prestige and sit firmly on the throne of sect master. Why is this rule no longer applicable to Vice Sect Master Wen Hui? Tsing Hui smiled faintly. As he spoke, he took a step forward, and the aura around his body suddenly rose. Even though the aura on his body did not erupt, The moment it rose, he relied on his extremely precise control of his own strength after he had mastered the Zhenqi virtual technique. He quietly turned the pressure that Xinqin had exerted down into nothingness. This caused Wen Hui, who was having a hard time under the pressure of this pressure, to sigh in relief as though a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. Supreme Elder Chou Tsinghui of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, the matters of our Green Lotus Sword Sect are not up to you, a Supreme Elder of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, to intervene, right? Xinqin suppressed the anger in her heart. I said that I am only representing myself, not the Supreme Elder of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect. Therefore, if Supreme Elder Xinqin has anything to say, you can direct it to me. You don't have to use the name of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect. The Hunyuan Heavenly Sect has nothing to do with this matter. Qing Su looked at Xinqin and said with a hint of coercion, I just want to ask Great Elder Xinqin to answer my question from before. Why does the rules of the Green Lotus Sword Sect apply to other people, but not Vice Sect Master Wen Hui? Or is it that the rules and regulations formulated by the ancestors of the Green Lotus Sword Sect can be changed at the whim of Supreme Elder Xinqin? If that's the case, then the one who really wants to destroy the unity of the Green Lotus Sword Sect and disturb the rules and regulations of the Green Lotus Sword Sect is no longer Vice Sect Master Wen Hui, but you, Supreme Elder Xinqin. When Xinqin heard Tsinghui's words, she could no longer contain the anger in her heart. The other party had provoked her in every possible way. If she did not fight back at this time, her reputation in the Green Lotus Sword Sect would plummet. When Wen Hui sat on the sect master's throne and took over the development of the Green Lotus Sword Sect, her power as the #1 Supreme Elder would be further weakened. In the long run, she might be reduced to the same level as the Supreme Elders of the Giant Dragon Mountain Range and other forces. Apart from the deterrence of a Vision Saint stage cultivation, she could not hold any real power. Supreme Elder Tsinghui, you are too presumptuous. The matters of our Green Lotus Sword Sect are not up to an outsider like you to intervene. Supreme Elder Xinqin's anger made everyone in the Green Lotus Sword Sect keep quiet out of fear, not daring to agree. Even the Supreme Elders of the Green Lotus Sword Sect kept their mouths shut. They might not be like the ordinary disciples of the Green Lotus Sword Sect, who did not dare to intervene in the conflict between Tsinghui, Wen Hui, and Supreme Elder Xinqin, but they were too lazy to stand up for Xinqin. Xinqin's prestige in the Green Lotus Sword Sect was too high, suppressing the other 6 Supreme Elders. Even the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword Sect had to act according to her wishes. Although the several Supreme Elders did not say anything, they did not want someone to step on top of their heads and point fingers at them. All of them were waiting for Xinqin and Tsinghui to fight each other, which would dampen Xinqin's spirit and damage her prestige. Then, they would all swarm up and defeat Tsinghui, digging out the crisis of the Green Lotus Sword Sect and fighting for more benefits. I'm just stating facts from the standpoint of a notary. If Grand Elder Xinqin really has a clear conscience, why don't you just leave these matters to these juniors to deal with themselves? You and the other Grand Elders can continue to cultivate in seclusion and comprehend the evolution of true Qi and true essence as early as possible. Wouldn't it be better to break through to the true element boundary with all your might? You must know that the current Eastern wilderness is not peaceful. Without a true element boundary master, the Green Lotus Sword Sect is just an empty shell. Although I, Xinqin, am only at the Visionary Saint realm and have yet to condense true essence, I am confident that I am no weaker than any true energy cultivator, especially in my Green Lotus Sword Sect. With the Green Lotus Divine Sword in hand, there is no need for me to fear any true energy cultivator. If the Great Elder of the Green Ruins doesn't believe me, you are welcome to try me. As Xinqin spoke, she looked at Tsinghui with a faint threat in her eyes. However, Tsinghui paid no attention to Xinqin's threat. Instead, he went with the flow and said, "Is that so? I have long been fascinated by the power of the Green Lotus Divine Sword. Since Supreme Elder Xinqin has kindly invited me, I will respectfully accept." Oh. Xinqin stared at Tsinghui in a sinister manner. At this point, she already understood that this battle was inevitable. If she could defeat Tsinghui, then Tsing Hui's futile attempt to use the matter of Wen Hui to encroach on the Green Lotus Sword sect would naturally come to an end. She could even take advantage of this opportunity to extort some benefits from Tsing Hui and the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect. But if she was no match for Tsing Hui and was defeated by him, no, I will never fail. Although Tsing Hui has condensed the divine Great Golden Crow battle body, my White Tiger Saint body may not be any weaker than the Golden Crow divine body. In addition, this is the Green Lotus Sword sect, and I can use the power of the Green Lotus divine sword. Even if I can't display the full power of this divine weapon, I can still make it not inferior to a low-grade 10th grade divine weapon. With the power of this divine weapon, what can he do even if he has a divine grade battle body? With this thought, Shun Qin immediately shouted, "Since Supreme Elder Tsing Hui wants to see the power of our Green Lotus Sword sect's divine sword, then I will let Supreme Elder Tsing Hui have his wish. This is an important place of the Green Lotus Sword sect, and it is not suitable for us to fight. The two of us will directly decide the winner in the void." "As the host, please." Tsing Hui gestured with his hand and smiled faintly. Shen Qin coldly snorted, and her figure suddenly rose into the air like a stream of light, whizzing directly into the void. After ascending to a certain height, she let out a long cry, "Sword, come!" Clang. A loud and clear sword cry suddenly rang out from within the Green Lotus Sword sect, shaking hundreds of miles and resounding throughout the Green Lotus Sword sect. As the powerful sword intent filled the air, a clear light shot directly from below, instantly tearing through the void and landing in Shen Qin's hand. The Green Lotus Divine Sword. That's the Green Lotus Divine Sword of our Green Lotus Sword sect. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect has gone too far in bullying our Green Lotus Sword sect. Now that Supreme Elder Shen Qin has brought out the Green Lotus Divine Sword, he will definitely be taught an unforgettable lesson. To the side, Wen Hui hurriedly reminded Tsing Hui, Lord Tsing Hui, that Divine Sword is our Green Lotus Sword sect's sect guarding Divine Sword, a high-grade 10th Order Green Lotus Divine Sword. It is said that this Divine Sword was created from a broken sword. By relying on this broken sword fragment, the Green Lotus Divine Sword, which was originally only a grade 9 or even grade 8 Green Lotus Divine Sword at best, has been infused with powerful sword intent, and its power has soared to the high-grade 10th Order level. Therefore, Lord Tsing Hui must be very careful when dealing with this sword's attack, which has the effect of directly destroying one's spirit. Destroying one's spirit? Tsing Hui's expression grew a little more solemn. His current spirit level was only 88, while the Green Lotus Divine Sword corresponded to a grade 10 divine weapon. Even if the spirit-killing effect of a grade 10 divine weapon couldn't be compared to that of a grade 100 spirit, it would more or less have some effect on Tsing Hui, whose spirit level was only 88. He didn't want the first step of his plan to sweep through the eastern wasteland to fail miserably in the battle of conquering the Green Lotus Sword sect. After nodding to Wen Hui, Tsing Hui also jumped up and flew on his sword in the blink of an eye, arriving at the same level as the Supreme Elder of the Green Lotus Sword sect. Shen Qin, holding the Green Lotus Divine Sword, looked coldly at Tsing Hui. "Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, although you have cultivated the divine Great Golden Crow battle body and your spirit will maybe far superior to ordinary prominent divine stage experts, but the Green Lotus Divine Sword in my hand will cause a great impact to one's spirit. The accumulated damage is enough to shatter one's spirit. If you are not careful, it will damage one's foundation and sever one's future. Therefore, I advise you to stop as soon as possible and leave our Green Lotus Sword sect. If you leave the Green Lotus Sword sect now, I can let bygones be bygones." Supreme Elder Shen Qin must be joking. It is rare for me to have the opportunity to ask for guidance on the power of the Green Lotus Divine Sword. How can I miss it? Therefore, there is no need for Supreme Elder Shen Qin to say anything more, just attack. Although Shen Qin was afraid of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect behind Tsing Hui as well as his own potential, she flew into a rage at his insistence. "Good, good, good. Since you are so stubborn, don't blame me for being ruthless. Green Lotus. Lotus Bloom." Chapter 367. Green Lotus, Open. Shen Qin let out a low roar, and the white tiger's saintly body appeared behind her. The green lotus divine sword in her hand was directly integrated into the white tiger's saintly body. As the white tiger's saintly body rushed down, dozens of sword lights bloomed under its feet like a lotus. They were mixed with the murderous and destructive aura of the white tiger's saintly beast, and burst out. Before the white tiger arrived, the dozens of sword chi had already shot down. Clang! With Wen Hui's reminder, Tsing Hui did not dare to be careless. The rank 9 divine weapon in his hand was released at the same time as the Golden Crow's saintly body, and it merged with the Golden Crow's saintly body. For a time, endless light and heat dissipated, as if a second sun had risen in the void. The strong light illuminated the people of the Green Lotus Sword sect below, and they could hardly open their eyes. As the Golden Crow's saintly body tore down the sword chi that burst out, the void seemed to be distorted. When the sword chi was about to shoot to 100 meters in front of him, they exploded at the same time. The fire in the sky burned in the void within hundreds of meters, and the area was dyed red. However, at the moment when the Golden Crow's saintly body collided with the sword chi, Tsing Hui suddenly felt a shock in his spirit. A somewhat familiar sword essence directly cut into his spiritual world, and it slowed down the operation of his spiritual world slightly. White Tiger Roar. In such a slight delay, Shen Qin's white tiger's saintly body suddenly burst out a long roar that shook the divine soul. The roar was so harsh that Tsing Hui's consciousness gradually dissipated, and the flaw of this spiritual world was infinitely enlarged. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Shen Qin had already swept the sky with sword lights, and completely tore up the flames formed by the Golden Crow's saintly body. The remaining momentum did not reduce, and it rushed to the Golden Crow phantom that was formed by the Golden Crow's saintly body. The sword light in the Green Lotus divine sword whistled out, and the sword chi that twisted the divine soul cut the Golden Crow phantom in an instant. Then, it penetrated the power of the phantom formed by the Golden Crow's saintly body, and fiercely cut into the body of Tsing Hui. In an instant, several bloody holes appeared on Tsing Hui's body. Good. Sure enough, our Supreme Elder Shen Qin is better. So what if you have the Golden Crow body? Our Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword has the ability to kill divine souls. How can the Gold Crow divine body withstand it? In addition, Grand Elder Shen Qin's White Tiger's murderous roar and the Azure Lotus Divine Sword's spiritual soul-slaying power perfectly complemented each other. Even those powerhouses who had stepped into the transformative realm would fall for it if they did not have sufficient defensive means, let alone a puny prominent divine stage powerhouse like you. The people from the Dong clan in the Blue Lotus Sword sect, as well as the cultivators who did not know the specifics of the matter, cheered in surprise, shouting for Grand Elder Shen Qin to gain the upper hand. On the other hand, when Hui's expression sank and he said anxiously, "Didn't I tell Lord Tsing Hui to be careful of the Azure Lotus Divine Sword's attack that can slash the soul? Why was Lord Tsing Hui still struck by 3 swords? This is bad." Compared to the Dong family's cheers and Wen Hui's anxiety and worry, Tsing Hui did not react at all to the small wounds that had been pierced through his body by the sword chi. In fact, although the sword intent in the Azure Lotus Divine Sword had a certain effect on him, this effect was not caused by the spiritual soul-slaying effect of the sword intent, but distraction. At the moment when he was hit by the sword intent, he was distracted. As a result, Shen Qin's White Tiger's murderous roar took advantage of this and shook his spiritual soul, allowing Shen Qin to penetrate his Golden Crow divine body with the help of the Azure Lotus Divine Sword's sword chi and then his body. This sword intent, with his body pierced and blood sputtering, Tsing Hui did not panic. Instead, his eyes widened as his gaze fell on the Azure Lotus Divine Sword in Shen Qin's hand. For a moment, he was slightly absent-minded. Humph, after all, you are too young. Even if you have condensed a divine-grade battle body, to what extent can your spiritual strength be refined to? However, when Shen Qin saw this scene, she felt that her Azure Lotus Divine Sword had a good effect when used in conjunction with the White Tiger's murderous roar. Without any hesitation, the White Tiger's saintly body roared again, and a long roar shook the spiritual soul. She pressed her hand down, and the sword chi of the azure lotus divine sword appeared from the white tiger's saintly body. Like a dazzling rainbow tearing the sky, the sword chi ruthlessly pierced through Tsing Hui's head. This sword, she no longer wanted to add a few bloody holes to his body. She wanted to shoot Tsing Hui's head to explode in one blow. Buzz buzz. Just as the sword was about to hit Tsing Hui, whose spiritual strength seemed to be shaken, suddenly made a move. He pinched his fingers into a sword and heavily pointed at the sword chi that burst out from the azure lotus divine sword, directly shattering the sword chi. At the same time, the golden crow's saintly body, which had been pierced through by the sword and was slightly illusory, burst out a loud and clear cry. Its sharp claws slapped down at the white tiger's saintly beast. As it slapped down, a blazing flame emerged from its body. Endless brilliance burst out from the flame, as if a scorching sun was shining with the brightest brilliance. Boom! The thunderous power fiercely exploded in the huge body of the white tiger's saintly body. When the blow hit, the sound was not the sound of a heavy object hitting, but the sound of a bomb exploding. The moment the golden crow's saintly body hit the white tiger's saintly body, it was as if countless missiles had been detonated at the same time. The explosions scattered endless flames and brilliance. In the face of such a sudden attack, Shin Qin let out a painful scream. The white tiger's saintly body that had manifested almost dissipated. However, this pain stimulated her ferocious nature. The wave of the divine technique swept out, and a more terrifying energy burst out from her body. The white tiger's saintly body, which had been dimmed and was in danger of dissipating, became extremely condensed again. Its size had soared from the previous 80 meters to 120 meters, which was even higher than the golden crow's saintly body. The white tiger's saintly body, which had become even larger, let out an extremely angry roar. Countless sword lights extinguished the burning flames on its body. Then, it pounced and fiercely collided with the golden crow's saintly body. The huge body of the golden crow's saintly body was knocked back. Divine technique? A sneer flashed on Tsing Hui's face. Do you think you are the only one who has the divine technique? As soon as he finished speaking, the aura of the divine technique emerged from Tsing Hui's body. The golden crow's saintly body, which had been knocked out, was infused with the power of the divine technique. Its size, which was originally less than 100 meters, soared to 150 meters. Although the bigger the saintly body was, the size was often enough to determine the final strength of two saintly bodies at the level of the prominent divine realm. The golden crow's saintly body, which had soared to 150 meters, stabilized its body and once again tore at the body of the white tiger's saintly body. This time, not only did it contain the terrifying power of the thunderbolt, but its sharp claws also burst out with the dazzling Grand Sun True Fire. As the Grand Sun True Fire emerged, Shin Qin immediately felt the suffocating and terrifying heat through the white tiger's saintly body. At that moment, she couldn't care about the consumption of the white tiger's saintly body. She used the talent of the white tiger's saintly body, and a terrifying sound wave swept out again. However, it was different from the previous two times. This time, without the help of the sword essence of the Green Lotus Divine Sword, the attack formed by the white tiger's saintly body only had a slight impact on Tsing Hui. In the blink of an eye, the impact was wiped out. Then, the golden crow's saintly body, which had torn the void, fell on the body of the white tiger's saintly body, and tore the huge body of the white tiger's saintly body, which had reached 120 meters, apart. The raging Grand Sun True Fire spread rapidly along the wound of the white tiger's saintly body, which suddenly made the white tiger's saintly body cry out in pain. The so-called saintly body was, in fact, a means manifested when the divine soul, which was shaped by the practitioner, received the carrier of the genuine qi. When the saintly body was torn apart, it was almost equivalent to the divine soul being torn apart. That kind of pain was often unbearable even for Tsing Hui, who always used the Nine Skies Gang Wind to temper his primordial spirit, let alone Shin Qin. Not to mention that after the golden crow's saintly body tore the white tiger's saintly body, the blazing Grand Sun True Fire burned along the wound. Damn it! Shin Qin shouted angrily. The white tiger's saintly body, which was being burned fiercely by the Grand Sun True Fire, retreated rapidly, trying to pull away from the Golden Crow's saintly body. Unfortunately, Xing Hui, who had practiced the genuine qi to the advanced realm and whose spiritual level had reached the 88th level, had surpassed Shenqin's control of his own genuine qi and the divine soul of the Golden Crow. Before the White Tiger's saintly body had time to pull away, the Golden Crow's saintly body had already taken the opportunity to attack. The more raging Grand Sun True Fire swept wildly, igniting the entire White Tiger's saintly body into a huge fireball. It seemed that the White Tiger's saintly body would be burned to ashes. "Get out of my way!" Seeing that she couldn't get rid of the entanglement of the Golden Crow's saintly body, Shenqin roared. The White Tiger's saintly body, which was being burned by the Grand Sun True Fire, roared. In its body, the Green Lotus Divine Sword burst out, carrying a terrifying sharpness that could kill the divine soul. It pierced through the Golden Crow's saintly body and shot toward Xing Hui without slowing down. At the same time, the weakening White Tiger's saintly body once again stirred up its genuine qi and let out a White Tiger's roar. Obviously, she wanted to perform the first wave of attack again. "Do you really think that the sword essence in your Green Lotus Divine Sword can do anything to me?" Xing Hui's eyes flashed. Looking at the Green Lotus Divine Sword, which contained the power to make the divine soul tremble, he directly pinched a special spell in his hand. Seeing the special spell that Xing Hui pinched, Shenqin's eyes widened. This is the Green Lotus Sword technique? Buzz! In Xing Hui's spiritual world, the sword essence derived from the Torch Dragon bloodline appeared. It broke out from his body and slashed the body of the Green Lotus Divine Sword. Although it was shattered by the terrifying power of the Green Lotus Divine Sword in an instant, it made the Green Lotus Divine Sword stagnate. In this moment of stagnation, Xing Hui had already used the technique of the Green Lotus Sword technique to directly grab the Green Lotus Divine Sword, which was shooting toward him at an incredible speed. Before the Green Lotus Divine Sword could struggle violently, he turned his left hand, and a broken sword appeared in his hand. It was the broken sword that he had obtained from the ancestral land of the Myriad Swords Mountain. Xing Hui's spiritual level had reached the 88th level. This kind of spiritual power belonged to the peak of the transformation stage of the second layer Saint Realm. Even if the Green Lotus Divine Sword's spiritual power could affect him, the effect would not be so great. The reason why he was so embarrassed by Shenqin's Green Lotus Divine Sword at the beginning was that he discovered that the sword essence of the Green Lotus Divine Sword was the same as the broken sword that he had obtained from the ancestral land of the Myriad Swords Mountain. Because of this, he was shocked, and Shenqin took advantage of this and shot 3 bloody holes in his body. After understanding that the two sword intents originated from the same source, Qing Su immediately realized that the mysterious fragment of the broken sword that had been added to the Green Lotus Sword when it was forged all those years ago came from this broken sword. As he guided the sword essence of this broken sword to attack the sword essence contained in the Green Lotus Divine Sword, the Green Lotus Divine Sword, which was struggling violently in his hand, quickly calmed down. Then, Xing Hui turned his hand over and put it into his personal space. Chapter 368. Looking at the Green Lotus Divine Sword that Xing Hui had taken into his personal space, Shenqin felt her brain shake and was completely dumbfounded. Green Lotus Divine Sword? Their Green Lotus Sword sect guarding Divine Sword gone? It was taken away? Such a strong impact even overshadowed the intense pain of the White Tiger's sacred body being burned by the Great Sun True Fire, causing her to be stunned on the spot. After a while, the pain of the White Tiger Divine Soul almost being burned to ashes by the Great Sun True Fire made her suddenly wake up. She couldn't help but scream, "My Green Lotus Divine Sword! What do you mean by your Green Lotus Divine Sword? If I'm not mistaken, this Green Lotus Divine Sword has a great opportunity with me. It is part of a treasure given to me by an almighty behind me. In order to confirm whether this thing originally belonged to me, I have to take it back and study it. If I'm wrong, I will return the Green Lotus Divine Sword to its original owner and repay your Green Lotus Sword sect." Xing Hui said faintly and directly determined the matter of taking away the Green Lotus Divine Sword. "A part of your treasure? What a bunch of nonsense. You're talking nonsense. You clearly want to take possession of our Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword. Shin Qin felt the white tiger's sacred body being burned fiercely by the great sun true fire and almost completely dissipated. She had no choice but to directly collapse most of the white tiger's sacred body that was contaminated by the great sun true fire. More than half of the white tiger's sacred body that was burned to less than 80 meters collapsed again in an instant. The remaining power of less than 40 meters shrank back into the body. But even so, looking at the heavy loss of the white tiger divine soul, Shin Qin's eyes were still full of resentment. It would take at least 2 or 3 years to recover from such a heavy injury. If something went wrong, she might even lose her foundation and be unable to fully manifest the white tiger's sacred body. Thinking of this, the resentment in her heart almost broke through the sky. She immediately roared at the prominent divine stage supreme elders who were watching the battle below. What are you looking at? This Cho Xinghui is clearly aiming to destroy our Green Lotus Sword sect. Now, even our Green Lotus Divine Sword has been taken away. As the supreme elders of our Green Lotus Sword sect, are you just going to watch him act unscrupulously in our Green Lotus Sword sect? In fact, there was no need for Shin Qin to speak. When they saw Xinghui take away the Green Lotus Divine Sword, Tan Feng, Shu Aguang, and the other supreme elders panicked. They quickly rushed into the void and surrounded Xinghui. They said with a stern expression, "Supreme Elder Xinghui, your spar with Supreme Elder Shin Qin has ended. We admit that Supreme Elder Xinghui is slightly better. However, the Green Lotus Divine Sword is our Green Lotus Sword sect's sect-guarding divine sword. Everyone in the Eastern Wasteland knows this. We ask Supreme Elder Xinghui to hand over the Green Lotus Divine Sword and return it to our Green Lotus Sword sect. That's right. We ask Supreme Elder Xinghui to return the Green Lotus Divine Sword to our Green Lotus Sword sect." The other Grand Elders all echoed in agreement. Xinghui's gaze swept across the Supreme Elders, including Tan Feng. Originally, he did not intend to go against the Green Lotus Sword sect. After all, there was a first-rate chaos organization behind the Green Lotus Sword sect. Although these chaos organizations could not reach the level of Sky Vault, Sword Shadow, Supreme Elder, and Judgment, they were able to develop their forces outside of Heaven Wasteland domain. They were clearly first-rate chaos organizations that had at least a Son of Chaos at the 25th step. These chaos organizations often had powerful experts in charge, which was troublesome. However, after learning that the Green Lotus Divine Sword of the Green Lotus Sword sect was related to his broken sword, he had already made up his mind to take the Green Lotus Divine Sword for himself. Although he could now use the 9 Heavens astral wind to temper his primordial spirit, the efficiency was really too slow. It would take at least a few years to raise his mental power level to the 100th step. However, if he could use the Green Lotus Divine Sword as a carrier and guide more of the sword intent in the broken sword into the Green Lotus Divine Sword, he would certainly be able to make the sword intent in the Green Lotus Divine Sword stronger. At that time, it would definitely have a tempering effect on his mental power. Even if the effect could not last long as his mental power level could reach the 90th step as soon as possible, or even the 100th step, it would ensure that he would not be killed by the powerful experts who used his consciousness as a sword in the battle against the chaos. I've already said that the materials used to forge this Green Lotus Divine Sword are most likely a part of the treasure bestowed upon me by an almighty behind me. After all of you should be clear about the details of the Green Lotus Divine Sword. Originally, it was only a level 9 divine weapon, or even a level 8 divine weapon, but after adding that fragment of the broken sword, it could reach the level of a level 10 divine weapon. Therefore, I need to take it back and study it carefully. Furthermore, I'm not trying to snatch the Green Lotus Divine Sword from your Green Lotus Sword sect. If I can determine that this Green Lotus Divine Sword has nothing to do with the treasure bestowed upon me by the Almighty behind me, I will naturally return it to you. Xinghui spoke unhurriedly, but his tone was unquestionable. Grand Elder Xinghui, the Green Lotus Divine Sword is the most precious divine sword of our Green Lotus Sword sect and cannot be lost. If you insist on forcibly taking possession of our Green Lotus Sword sect's divine sword, then don't blame us for offending you. I believe that even if this matter really blows up and the Hunyuan Heaven sect learns of it, the Hunyuan Heaven sect will not blame us for what we have done. Tan Feng tightly grasped the 8-step divine weapon in his hand, looking at Xing Hui with a threatening gaze. What, do you want to attack me? What are you waiting for? The manifestation of the Golden Crow divine body consumes a great deal of one's strength. In the battle with me just now, he probably has less than half of his true chi left. If you all swarm him now, you will definitely be able to greatly consume the strength of his Golden Crow divine body. When his true chi is exhausted, the Golden Crow divine body will not be able to be manifested, and the only thing waiting for him is to be slaughtered. When that time comes, you can force him to hand over the Green Lotus divine sword. Do you think he will dare to refuse? Shin Qin roared from the side. Tan Feng glanced at Shin Qin and muttered in his heart, aren't they waiting for Xing Hui's divine technique to end? However, after calculating the time, Xing Hui's divine technique should be about to end. In order to prevent him from sensing the unfavorable situation and immediately escaping, they had to make the first move. Elder Xing Hui, since you are so stubborn and insist on snatching the Green Lotus divine sword from our Green Lotus Sword sect, then don't blame us for offending you. Entangle him and don't let him escape. Tan Feng roared and immediately coordinated with the remaining 6 Grand Elders to form a battle formation. The auras of the 6 people were almost connected as one. Xing Hui seemed to understand Tan Feng's thoughts and immediately smiled faintly. I'm afraid the few of you are not qualified to be my enemy. With a chuckle, the Golden Crow divine body once again surged, carrying a terrifying and blazing torrent of energy as it rushed towards Tan Feng at the forefront. On the divine body, the great sun true fire appeared. The terrifying heat that was enough to distort the void caused Tan Feng's expression to change. Oh no! Tan Feng's figure rapidly retreated. He had originally planned to entangle, but now he couldn't care less. He manifested his divine body and a 6-winged divine tiger appeared above his head. It roared and tore the void, trying to block the great sun true fire that swept out from the Golden Crow divine body. When the other Grand Elders saw that Tan Feng was quickly in danger, they could only manifest their divine bodies and launch harassing attacks at Xing Hui from the side. They wanted to force Xing Hui to change his body and use the Golden Crow divine body to resist their attacks. Unfortunately, although there were many prominent divine stage experts in the Green Lotus Sword sect, including the sect master, there were only sect master Tan Feng, 1st Grand Elder Shin Qin, and 2nd Grand Elder Huabalian who had cultivated a divine body. Among them, Huabalian had condensed the Zhuyan's sacred body, and it was done with great difficulty. Among the 3 divine bodies, Shin Qin had already been crippled by Xing Hui, and Tan Feng was completely suppressed by him. The only one left that could make him slightly surprised was Huabalian's Zhuyan's sacred body. Under these circumstances, all Qing Su did was split a portion of the wings from the Golden Crow avatar and unleash the scorching true flames of the Grand Sun. It directly set Huabalian's scarlet ape sacred body ablaze, and Huabalian, who was connected to his soul, produced a painful cry as he retreated rapidly. Compared to Huabalian, who was the focus of the Grand Sun primordial fire, the attacks of the other great elders were a little awkward. Although their spiritual battle bodies were powerful, they were greatly suppressed by the Golden Crow divine body. When their seemingly powerful attacks hit the Golden Crow divine body, most of them were burned by the blazing flames of the Golden Crow divine body. When their attacks landed on the Golden Crow divine body, they were also burned, and their saint bodies dimmed a little. That's it. Xing Hui felt the shock of the Golden Crow divine body when it was attacked. He stepped forward indifferently, and the Golden Crow divine body completely pounced on Tan Feng's 6-winged sacred tiger. The great sun true fire was ignited. Even though Tan Feng immediately used the 6-winged sacred tiger's innate ability and formed a sword light on the surface of his divine body, it was still difficult to resist the burning of the great sun true fire. With a shrill scream, his 6-winged sacred tiger had dimmed by more than half. If this continued, the Golden Crow divine body in front of him only needed one more great sun true fire to burn his six-winged sacred tiger to ashes. A divine body? Is this the power of a divine body? Although the attacks of our divine body have injured him, the burns on our bodies are not light either. And this is to the extent that he doesn't resist our attacks at all. If it were a one-on-one fight, wouldn't it mean that even if Tsing Hui didn't do anything and just used his Golden Crow divine body and let us attack him freely, our own bodies would be burned to ashes by the terrifying flames of the Golden Crow divine body after we defeated his Golden Crow divine body? What's going on? How can he hold on for so long? The Great Sun True Fire is a powerful innate ability of the Golden Crow, but it also consumes a lot of energy. He shouldn't be able to hold on any longer. Why does it look like the power of his divine body hasn't weakened much? It's reasonable to say that the divine technique's time should be up, but he's still holding on. Could it be that his divine technique isn't just at level 1, but level 2? The 6 great elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect and sect Master Tan Feng had joined forces, but they were still beaten badly by Tsing Hui in the end. In particular, Tan Feng and Huabalian, who were the focus of his attacks, were burned by the Great Sun True Fire. Their essence, chi, and spirit dropped a lot. If this continued, it was only a matter of time before the 7 Vision Divine Stage experts were defeated. Chapter 369. This is Alliance Leader Tsing Hui's true strength. First, he defeated our Green Lotus Sword sect's first Grand Elder, Shinqin. Now, he's even able to handle the siege of our 7 Grand Elders with ease? And he's even gained the upper hand now? Moreover, after such a long battle, neither his divine art nor his Golden Crow divine body showed any signs of weakening? This is simply incredible. When Hui looked at Tsing Hui, who had displayed his divine power and suppressed almost all the high-level experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect, and could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Thinking back to when he first thought that he had condensed the White Tiger divine body and was in the Green Lotus Sword sect, which was his territory, he faintly had the thought of disobeying Tsing Hui. He immediately broke out in a cold sweat. If he really dared to disobey Tsing Hui's orders, even if he was in the Green Lotus Sword sect and had condensed the White Tiger divine body, he would not be able to escape death. Even if all the Grand Elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect attacked at the same time, they might not be able to save him. It was not just Wen Hui. Dong Zhongming, Wen Chuanshi, and the various elders and mountain lords of the Green Lotus Sword sect who had come after hearing the news all fell silent when they saw Qing Su take on the 7 Vision sainthood experts of their sect all by himself. How can he be so strong? Isn't he also a prominent saint expert? Even if he has a divine-grade battle body, it's impossible for him to be so strong. When the 7 prominent saint experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect attacked together, even a first-layer saint expert would have to avoid them. How can he still have the upper hand? He's trying to suppress the entire Green Lotus Sword sect with his own strength. Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's Chou Tsing Hui is really so powerful? No wonder the Create Evolve Mysterious sect didn't dare to take revenge on him after losing 2 Grand Elders to him. It's actually because of this reason. Wen Hui actually obtained the support of such a top giant. From now on, who in the Green Lotus Sword sect can be his competitor? Everyone from the Green Lotus Sword sect widened their eyes in shock and disbelief. Wen Chuanshi, Wen Xing, Wen Hua, and the others were trembling, shrinking their necks. When they thought of how they had actually planned to exclude Tsing Hui's benefits and downplay his kindness to the Wen family, they all felt a chill in their hearts. If their actions at that time had angered this invincible giant who was stronger than true energy boundary experts and caused him to destroy the entire Wen family in a fit of anger, who in the entire Green Lotus Sword sect would be able to resist him? It was no wonder that even though Wen Hui had broken through to the Vision Divine stage and condensed the White Tiger saintly body, he was still so wary of Tsing Hui. It was because of this reason. The Green Lotus Sword sect. If they don't win today's battle, their reputation will be completely ruined, and they will become the stepping stone for Tsing Hui's rise. Some of the knowledgeable people of the Green Lotus Sword sect were worried. Unfortunately, their worries couldn't change the situation of the battle in the void. As the power of the Golden Crow's saintly body continued to erupt, Tan Feng and Huabalian were facing the end of being completely crippled. Once these two cultivators of the Saint-grade battle body were defeated, how long could the remaining Vision Divine stage experts of the spiritual grade battle body last? It was only a matter of time before they were defeated. The Green Lotus Sword sect absolutely can't accept this humiliation. Shen Qin seemed to have noticed the abnormality of the situation and looked unwilling. The next moment, she took out a jade talisman in her hand and crushed it. Not long after the jade talisman was crushed, two powerful auras rose again from the forbidden area of the back mountain of the Green Lotus Sword sect, breaking through the air at an extremely fast speed. True energy boundary? Tsing Hui glanced in the direction of the forbidden area of the Green Lotus Sword sect with a look of surprise, but after thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Although most true energy boundary experts would choose to leave the Heaven Wasteland domain, the journey to the Heaven Wasteland domain was not necessarily safe. Without several true energy boundary experts in a group, they might not dare to take the risk. As a result, they naturally lived in seclusion in the sect. On one hand, they avoided the world and did their best to improve their cultivation in order to reach the endless realm. On the other hand, they were the trump card of the sect, guarding the safety of the sect. Who dares to offend my Green Lotus Sword sect? Accompanied by a fierce shout, two figures, one man and one woman, came from the direction of the forbidden area of the Green Lotus Sword sect and quickly appeared in the void of the battlefield. Seeing the two figures, the faces of Wen Hui, Wen Chuanshi, Dong Zhongming and the others changed. That's the Lotus Ancestor and the Nanshan Ancestor? Didn't the Lotus Ancestor go to the Heaven Wasteland domain with the Qinkuan Sacred Land team 30 years ago? I didn't expect the Ancestor to still live in seclusion in our Green Lotus Sword sect. The Nanshan Ancestor is said to have passed away 24 years ago? How come she is still silently guarding our Green Lotus Sword sect? Great, I didn't expect the Lotus Ancestor and the Nanshan Ancestor to still be here. With these two true energy realm ancestors, even if Tsing Hui has the ability to reach the heavens, how can he be a match for the two ancestors and the 7 great elders? The elders and mountain masters of the Green Lotus Sword sect all cheered at the same time. Sure enough, after beating the young, the old came. Tsing Hui looked at the two true energy realm experts who were rapidly approaching the battlefield. Even though the aura of the two true energy realm experts was quite decaying and seemed to be dying, he could not underestimate them. Seeing that the 7 great elders, including Tan Feng, Huabalian, and Shuaguang, were greatly excited by the arrival of the two true energy realm experts and were about to engage him again, he immediately took a deep breath. The Golden Crow divine body, which was originally surrounded by flames, exploded with an unprecedented bright brilliance. A suffocating torrent of destruction, with Tsing Hui as the center, suddenly burst out with a loud bang. Resplendent eternity. Not good. Quick. Retreat. Careful. Feeling the suffocating torrent of destruction emitted from the Golden Crow divine body, the great elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect and the clan leader Tan Feng let out shrill roars at the same time, and all of them madly fled in all directions with their fastest speed. But no matter how fast they fled, how could they be faster than the explosive power formed by the resplendent eternity? Under the cries of the Lotus Ancestor, the Nanshan Ancestor, and the first great elder Shen Qin in disbelief, endless light and heat instantly engulfed Tan Feng, Huabalian, Shuaguang, and the other prominent divine stage experts who surrounded Tsing Hui. In the void, it was as if a great sun had exploded. The dazzling light illuminated the horizon, blinding the eyes of countless ordinary disciples of the Green Lotus Sword sect who were watching this battlefield. As painful cries came out from their mouths, they were immediately covered by the rumbling sound formed by the explosion of the resplendent eternity. Everything in the world was overshadowed by this destructive torrent of destruction formed by the explosion. Cho Tsing Hui, I'm going to kill you. Shen Qin looked at the great elders and clan leader Tan Feng who were engulfed by the resplendent eternity. Her eyes were blood-red as she let out a crazed cry. How dare you start a massacre in my Green Lotus Sword sect? Die for me. The Lotus Ancestor and the Nan Shun Ancestor, who had rushed to the battlefield at the first moment, let out furious roars. One by one, they activated their battle physiques and used their powerful innate abilities to tear apart the destructive torrent of destruction left behind by the resplendent eternity, creating a gap in it. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Tan Feng and Huabalian, who had relied on the power of their saint-grade battle physiques to preserve their lives, quickly rushed out as fast as they could. In addition, Shuoguang and another great elder who had a saint-grade battle physique also rushed out of the flames. The four of them were pitch black and extremely miserable. As for the remaining three prominent divine stage experts, they were directly turned into ashes by the power of the resplendent eternity. Little thief, how dare you bully my Green Lotus Sword sect? My Green Lotus Sword sect will not rest until you are dead. The Lotus Ancestor let out a crazed roar as the battle physique that tore apart the aftermath of the resplendent eternity's explosion charged straight towards Tsing Hui, who was at the center of the explosion, in a futile attempt to take revenge. Bang! Before the attacks of the two true element stage ancestors could tear apart Tsing Hui, who was at the center of the explosion, a loud roar sounded from the center of the flames. An attack mixed with the great sun true fire tore apart the battle physiques of the two true element stage ancestors. At the same time, 6 streams of light appeared at the same time and rose into the sky before erupting with a brilliant radiance. They were like 6 blazing suns that exploded the resplendent eternity. The heat and destructive torrent that had not completely dissipated completely solidified and then poured into the golden crow divine body. 10 suns burning the heavens. This was the supreme immortal technique, 10 suns burning the heavens. The golden crow divine body that had been weakened by the resplendent eternity immediately became condensed again after being injected with the energy of the 10 suns burning the heavens. Facing the attacks of the two true element stage experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect, it did not hesitate to meet them head-on. The attack mixed with the great sun true fire tore apart the saint physique of the two true element stage experts. Even though they were both true element stage experts, they only had ordinary spirit grade battle physiques. How could they be a match for the golden crow divine body? With one attack, the Lotus Ancestor's battle physique was almost torn apart, and even the Nan Shun Ancestor's battle physique was affected by the great sun true fire and spontaneously ignited. What kind of evil technique is this? The two true element boundary ancestors were aghast and quickly retreated. How could this be? How could this be? Shen Qin originally thought that the two true element stage ancestors would be able to defeat Tsing Hui, but her crazy expressions suddenly froze. The advantage of a true element stage expert compared to a vision divine stage expert was that the energy in their body was denser. Because their gaseous true qi was compressed into liquid true essence, the total amount of energy in their body was 10 times that of a vision divine stage expert. However, this did not mean that a true element stage expert's spirit grade battle physique could be compared to a vision divine stage expert's divine grade battle physique. If a true element stage expert wanted to defeat a vision divine stage expert, there was only one way, and that was to wear them out. Using the energy in one's body that was far stronger than the opponent's, they would directly exhaust the opponent's true qi and make them unable to manifest their battle physique. Then, they would unleash their battle physique and kill the target in one fell swoop. This was the correct tactic for a true element stage expert to use against a vision divine stage expert. After all, for a vision divine stage expert, manifesting their battle physique to fight was too much of a burden and consumption. But now, looking at the golden crow divine physique that had not been weakened even after fighting for close to 100 breaths, everyone, including Shen Qin, felt that their common sense of the past had been completely overturned. Qing Su did not worry about exhausting himself at all. He was like a neverless realm expert who had cultivated his true qi to the 3rd layer of the Saint Realm. His qi had formed a cycle that would never end. If this continued, let alone the two ancestors exhausting Qing Su's true qi, it would end up being Qing Su exhausting the two true Yuan realm experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect to death with just his true qi. If anything were to happen to these two true element stage patriarchs, their Green Lotus Sword sect would truly be finished. Chapter 370. Didn't you say you would fight to the death? Since you're here, don't leave. How could Tsing Hui let the two ancestors of the Green Lotus Sword sect escape from the range of the 10 suns burning the heavens? His goal was to completely subdue the entire Green Lotus Sword sect so that no one would dare to question Wen Hui's ascension to the position of sect master. If those two old farts were still disobedient and stirred up trouble from time to time, how could he have so much time to keep an eye on them? The best way was to use this battle to completely eliminate all the threats of the Green Lotus Sword sect once and for all. Ayo! The Golden Raven let out a long, resonant cry. With the assistance of the 10 sun-burning immortals technique, not only could the Golden Raven's depleted energy be continuously replenished, even its attacks were significantly enhanced. The Grand Sun Primordial Fire, which was originally only covering the surface of the claw, seemed to turn into a fireball and directly exploded on the Lotus Ancestor's body. The terrifying flames, which were enough to incinerate iron into water, exploded the moment they touched the Lotus Ancestor's body, causing the Lotus Ancestor to let out a shrill scream. His body immediately dimmed greatly. Oh no! At the side, Elder Nanshun saw that Elder Lotus Flower was in danger and suddenly rushed into the battlefield again in a futile attempt to rescue him. However, before he could save Elder Lotus Flower, the wings of the Golden Crow Divine Body had already swept down fiercely with monstrous flames and sent him flying. Get lost! Tsing Hui shouted. The moment the Golden Crow Divine Body's wings collided with the Nanshun Ancestor's body, the flames exploded and the dazzling Grand Sun Primordial Fire sputtered, almost blowing a small part of his body into pieces. In the state of manifested body, the grade of the body directly determined the strength of the two cultivators. There was no exception even if one was in the true energy realm and the other was in the prominent divine realm. Not to mention, under the enhancement of the 10 suns burning the heavens domain, the power of Tsing Hui's Golden Crow Divine Body had almost reached the limit of all Golden Crow Divine Bodies. Shatter! After slapping away the Nanshun Ancestor's battle form, Tsing Hui's Golden Crow Body charged forward again. Like an eagle soaring through the sky, its sharp claws viciously grasped the Lotus Ancestor's battle form that was gradually dimming. The Grand Sun Primordial Fire erupted, exploding in all directions. When the battle form was almost blown apart, the Golden Crow Body suddenly tore and completely tore the Lotus Ancestor's battle form to pieces. Ah! With his combat body shattered, the Lotus Ancestor cried out in pain. His face was extremely pale, and he could not even circulate his protective aura chi. His body was set ablaze by the terrifying flames of the 10 suns burning the heavens. If this continued, this true energy realm expert would be burned to ashes in a few breaths of time by the domain of the 10 suns burning the heavens. Seeing this result, all the practitioners of the Green Lotus Sword sect, from the elders and mountain masters to the disciples and servants, all widened their eyes and cried out in shock. Defeated! Defeated! Even the true energy stage Lotus Ancestor was defeated in just a few moves? The first Grand Elder, Shinqin, who had placed high hopes on the arrival of the Lotus Ancestor and Nanshun Ancestor, could no longer care about hatred and anger. She had already revealed all her trump cards. An unprecedented fear swept over her body, causing her entire body to turn ice cold. The bloody scene before her suddenly forced her heart into an endless abyss. Was the Green Lotus Sword sect finished? Stop. Stop. Elder Tsing Hui, please stop. Seeing the Lotus Ancestor's life hanging by a thread, the Nanshun Ancestor was completely terrified. He hurriedly shouted, "It's a misunderstanding. I think there must be some misunderstanding between us. Our Green Lotus Sword sect and the Hunyuan Heaven sect have been on good terms for generations, and there has never been any conflict between us. Why would the Green Lotus Sword sect make Elder Tsing Hui so angry? Oh, now you know it's a misunderstanding? I only borrowed your Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword to study, but you're so unforgiving? Do you really think I, Tsing Hui, am easy to bully?" Tsing Hui slowly withdrew the power of the Golden Crow Divine Body, but did not stop the 10 suns burning the heavens. Even so, the terrifying flames and heat still turned the void into a blazing purgatory. Even the temperature of the Green Lotus Sword sect, which was thousands of meters below, rose sharply. It was unknown how many dry things were set ablaze. Blazing flames and rising smoke could be seen everywhere. The entire Green Lotus Sword sect seemed to have been bombarded by firepower and turned into a mess. Borrow our Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword to study. The Nan Shun ancestor almost vomited blood when he heard this. He almost couldn't stop himself from cursing. But he glanced at Shin Qin and the Lotus ancestor, whose battle bodies had been destroyed, and then at Tan Feng and Huabalian, who had fainted due to their heavy injuries. He forcefully swallowed back his thoughts of cursing. This, Elder Tsing Hui, the Green Lotus Divine Sword is really the most important treasure of our Green Lotus Sword sect. The reason why our Green Lotus Sword sect can establish itself in the Eastern Wilderness is because of the Green Lotus Divine Sword's deterrence to other sections. If we lose the Green Lotus Divine Sword, I'm afraid our sect will be destroyed. How about I take Elder Tsing Hui to our Green Lotus Sword sect's treasury? If Elder Tsing Hui takes a fancy to anything, we will definitely give it to you with both hands. The Nan Shun ancestor lowered his head and tried his best to express his attitude in a tactful tone. He was afraid that he would completely enrage the invincible expert who had suppressed their Green Lotus Sword sect with his strength alone. I didn't come to your Green Lotus Sword sect to rob you. According to what you're saying, am I, the Grand Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, different from other bandits? Furthermore, it's not like I want to steal your Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword. It's just that this sword seems to have some sort of relationship with me, so I need to bring this sword back and study it carefully. After studying this sword, if it is proven that it has nothing to do with the other treasure on my body, I will naturally return it to its rightful owner. That's the most important sword of our Green Lotus Sword sect. Can it be taken away by the outside world? Patriarch Nan Shun really wanted to shout these words, but unfortunately he did not have the courage to say these words when he saw the Green Lotus Sword sect's upper echelon members who had been beaten to a pulp. He could only lower his voice and lower his stance. If you only want to borrow our Green Lotus Sword sect's Green Lotus Divine Sword to take a look, we can discuss it. Why did Elder Qing Su have to make such a big fuss and kill my Green Lotus Sword sect's Grand Elder? You should know that our Green Lotus Sword sect and the Hunyuan Heaven sect have a common enemy, and that is the Create, Evolve, Mysterious sect. Now that our two sects are fighting each other, it will only make us sad and our enemies happy. I also didn't want to, but your Green Lotus Sword sect's Grand Elder Shin Qin misunderstood my intentions, or perhaps she thought that I was easy to bully. She actually colluded with your Green Lotus Sword sect's Grand Elder to attack me. You also know that I am only a little Vision Saint stage cultivator. Facing the siege of several experts of the same stage, I was surrounded by danger and had no choice but to use my full strength. Once I used my full strength, I naturally couldn't stop myself, which led to the deaths of several Grand Elders of your sect. Strictly speaking, the fault of this matter is your Green Lotus Sword sect's Grand Elder Shin Qin, not me. If she hadn't stubbornly tried to stop me, would your Green Lotus Sword sect have suffered such a disaster? Easy to bully. These 3 words from Tsing Hui's mouth made the Nan Shun ancestor so upset that he almost vomited blood. Who is bullying who? Elder Tsing Hui, don't worry. Shen Qin has committed such a mistake, so we will definitely punish her severely. There's no need to punish her severely. After all, her original intention was for the sake of your Green Lotus Sword sect's sect guarding Divine Sword. If the punishment is too heavy, it will chill the hearts of everyone. Our Green Lotus Sword sect, Hunyuan Heavenly sect, and even the Jin Wu religion have a common enemy, which is the Create, Evolve, Mysterious sect. We might as well send Grand Elder Shin Qin to the God Burial Valley to assist the Limitless Sword sect in resisting the invasion of the Create, Evolve, Mysterious sect. This way, she can temper her cultivation and break through to the true element boundary early. Secondly, if she can kill several Grand Elders of the Create, Evolve, Mysterious sect, it will be a great merit. Go to the God Burial Valley. The Nan Shun ancestors' expression immediately changed. The God Burial Valley was the front line of the war between the Limitless Sword sect and the Create, Evolve, Mysterious sect. In that place, 1 or 2 prominent sage experts would die every year. If Shin Qin's battle physique had not been destroyed by Tsing Hui, she might have had a chance to protect herself in the God Burial Valley. But now, her battle physique had collapsed and it would take several years for her to recover. If she was careless and headed to the God Burial Valley battlefield at this time, that would be the end result of death and the disappearance of his Tao. Moreover, if she went to the God Burial Valley battlefield and left the headquarters of the Green Lotus Sword sect, her influence in the Green Lotus Sword sect would be greatly reduced. It would not be long before her influence in the Green Lotus Sword sect was uprooted by Wen Hui. At that time, even if she redeemed herself and returned, she could forget about covering the sky with one hand in the Green Lotus Sword sect. Could it be that the Green Lotus Sword sect is not willing to resist the Create Evolve Mysterious sect with our Hunyuan Heavenly sect, Limitless Sword sect, and other forces? Tsing Hui's expression sank slightly. The 10 suns burning heaven's immortal art that he had yet to withdraw was blazing with flames. The temperature in the air seemed to rise sharply. I am willing to head to the God Burial Valley. Hearing the threat in Tsing Hui's words, Shin Qin took a deep breath. Because of her, the Green Lotus Sword sect had suffered heavy losses. No matter what, she had to pay the price for this. Even though heading to the God Burial Valley was extremely dangerous for her, it was not impossible. If she was able to stimulate her potential and step into the true energy stage during the battle with the Create Evolve Mysterious sect's prominent sage experts, she might have a chance to avenge today's humiliation. As for leaving the Green Lotus Sword sect, it was equivalent to leaving the center of power of the Green Lotus Sword sect. After today's battle, how could Wen Hui, who had Tsing Hui's support, allow her to dominate the Green Lotus Sword sect and become the uncrowned king? Nan Shun seemed to understand Shin Qin's meaning. After hesitating for a while, he finally nodded and agreed to Shin Qin's decision. Since Grand Elder Shin Qin is willing to head to the God Burial Valley to atone for your crimes, then we will follow this method. Grand Elder Tsing Hui, what do you think? This is an internal matter of your Green Lotus Sword sect. I naturally cannot interfere. I only gave a suggestion. Tsing Hui said with a faint smile. The corners of Nan Shun's mouth twitched. Then it's decided. After speaking, he hurriedly shouted at a somewhat familiar mountain lord, "Why aren't you bringing Sect Master Tan Feng and Elder Huabalian to treat their injuries?" The mountain lord hurriedly responded and quickly left with Tan Feng and Huabalian. As for the Dong family, Ancestor Nan Shun tacitly allowed Wen Hui and Tsing Hui to deal with them. No one mentioned this point again. Chapter 371. The matter of Tsing Hui gradually came to an end. The ancestor of Nan Shun held back his frustration and invited Qing Su out of courtesy. Qing Su also understood that he had just killed 3 great elders, so he definitely would not be welcomed. As a result, he did not insist on it and returned to the Wen family. Not long ago, Tsing Hui had taken Wen Hui back to the Wen clan. At that time, although he had the status of a great elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the people of the Wen clan did not like him very much. After learning that Wen Hui had some special transactions with him, they wanted to dilute his existence and exclude him from the Wen clan circle. But this time, after witnessing Tsing Hui single-handedly subduing the entire Green Lotus Sword sect, suppressing the Green Lotus Divine Sword, and killing the 3 great elders of the sect, everyone in the Wen clan was as silent as cicadas in winter when facing Tsing Hui. They all trembled in fear and did not dare to show the slightest disrespect in front of him. I didn't expect that in the end, I still have to rely on my lord. If it weren't for my lord, even if I could become the master of the Green Lotus Sword sect, I would not be able to completely control the Green Lotus Sword sect and complete the various tasks that my lord has given me. Wen Hui's face was tinged with a hint of guilt. It doesn't matter. It's reasonable that you can't subdue the Green Lotus Sword sect with your cultivation. The people of the Green Lotus Sword sect won't make any more trouble, right? The appearance of the 2 experts of the true energy boundary gave me a fright. In fact, I was also quite surprised that there were 2 experts of the true energy boundary in the Green Lotus Sword sect. Of the 2 ancestors, the Lotus ancestor was said to have gone to Heaven Wasteland decades ago, but I don't know why he is still in our sect. As for Ancestor Nanshan, it was said that he had passed away a long time ago. I didn't expect that. Their appearance would also surprise us. As one of the 10 great sects, it's reasonable that they have 1 or 2 ancestors as their final trump cards. Otherwise, wouldn't they have been destroyed long ago? Sing Hui, on the other hand, felt that it was only natural. When Hui nodded, the most powerful technique of our Green Lotus Sword sect is the Green Lotus Divine Sword. The Green Lotus Divine Sword has the supreme power to kill the divine soul. Even if a transcendent expert is hit by the sword chi of the Green Lotus Divine Sword, his divine soul will be impacted and he will be defeated in one blow. This is the foundation of our Green Lotus Sword sect. I just didn't expect the divine soul of our master to be so powerful that even the sword will of the Green Lotus Divine Sword can't do anything to you. The Azure Lotus Divine Sword is indeed extraordinary. Sing Hui nodded in agreement. His mental strength had reached the 88th level. Although he had yet to reach the eternal realm, due to the fact that he had condensed his soul, his resistance to mental attacks was 2 or 3 levels higher than his own mental strength. However, under such circumstances, he could only rely on his adaptability to the sword intent of the Azure Lotus Divine Sword to be immune to the impact of these sword intents. If it had been an ordinary Eternal Realm expert, he might not have been able to come out unscathed under the attack of the Azure Lotus Divine Sword. As for the never-ending realm, he already had the ability to cross the sea and head to Heaven Wasteland on his own. It was uncertain whether there were any Eternal Realm experts in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Go and deal with the chaotic organization behind the Green Lotus Sword sect. If there is no need, we shouldn't have a conflict with them. Rest assured, Master. The chaotic organization behind the Green Lotus Sword sect has never interfered with our affairs. As long as the person in charge of the Green Lotus Sword sect is a member of the Green Lotus Sword sect and pays tribute according to the rules, they will not interfere with the internal affairs of the Green Lotus Sword sect. There have been more than 1 or 2 sect masters like me who forcibly took over the position and wanted to control the Green Lotus Sword sect. When Hui replied, "When is the next time the Green Lotus Sword sect pays tribute? I can push it back to 6 years at the latest." 6 years? That's enough. Sing Hui nodded. At present, he only needed to collect the accumulated Dao aura of the Green Lotus Sword sect and did not intend to interfere too much in other matters. As for 6 years later, it was unknown whether the chaotic organization behind the Green Lotus Sword sect could still pose a threat to him. I believe that you will be the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect. However, if you want to control the Green Lotus Sword sect well, the deterrence that I bring is far from enough. You have to use both kindness and power to rule the sect for a long time. This is the main reason why I want you to be the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect. Master, you mean, in the Life Alliance, as long as you have Dao aura items, you can exchange them for many divine weapons and heaven and earth treasures. I will transfer this exchange standard to the Green Lotus Sword sect. You can use those divine weapons as bait and make those cultivators contribute their Dao aura items as soon as possible. Our Green Lotus Sword sect is different from the Life Alliance. There is a chaotic organization behind the Green Lotus Sword sect. Even though the chaotic organization did not give us a high price, it is still equivalent to 1 Dao aura of a low-quality divine weapon of the 5th level. If we only follow the Life Alliance's standard, those elders who have a large number of Dao aura items may not be willing to take out all of their Dao aura items. Do you know how many Dao aura items the cultivators of the Green Lotus Sword sect have? Wen Hui smiled bitterly. No one has been able to find out the exact number, but it's likely that the more ancient a clan is, the more treasures they possess. For example, our Wen family is one of the top 10 clans in the Green Lotus Sword sect. Coupled with the fact that we've produced a son of chaos like me, we've been particularly diligent in collecting treasures. Over countless years, we've accumulated treasures with 22 points of the Rime of Ways. If the other clans haven't replaced their treasures, they shouldn't have lost out by much. Sing Hui pondered for a moment. After a while, he seemed to have thought of something. Most of the cultivators of the Green Lotus Sword sect mainly have the White Tiger bloodline, right? Indeed, 80% of the cultivators mainly have the white tiger bloodline or are derived from it. Very good. I need you to hold an auction. The items to be auctioned in this auction will mainly be 6th level divine weapons, armors, and flying swords. The auction prices should be lower. For example, the starting price of a high-quality 5th level divine weapon is only 1 Dao aura, and the final item is a bottle of blood essence of the 12th level white tiger sacred beast. Blood essence of the white tiger sacred beast? When Huey's eyes suddenly lit up. The cultivators of the Green Lotus Sword sect should not want the number of Dao aura items on them to be exposed. In order to ensure that the identities of those people are kept secret, you can do it secretly. However, this so-called secret is not really secret. You can find someone you trust to spread the news of the auction. The news must make people think that this auction will not be known by too many people. At the same time, you can also promise that all the participants of the auction can wear a mask when bidding, and that you, the organizer of the auction, will not let anyone's identity be leaked. Ching Su paused slightly when he reached there. Also, you want people to think that only the elders and mountain lords who have joined you long ago have the right to know about this. The true reason why you're holding this auction is so that you can reach the 10th level as soon as possible, as well as to give benefits to the people who have joined you. After all, even the starting price of a Class 5 high-quality god artifact is only 1 aura of truth. Anyone can understand just how beneficial that is. Although Tsing Hui had made this auction so complicated, when Huey's eyes immediately lit up when he thought about the meaning behind it. Master, this method is really good. Those who receive this news can hide their identities and naturally feel less pressure to expose the Dao aura items on them. Moreover, Master said that the real purpose of this auction is to give benefits to those who have surrendered to me. Since they are cultivators who have surrendered to me, I will not harm them. After all, a disloyal sect is not conducive to my rule. With these two factors combined, those who are worried about me can disguise themselves as my subordinates and secretly attend this auction. They can ensure their own safety, and can also buy heaven and earth treasures and divine weapons that they are satisfied with at a very low price. Yes, that's right. Tsing Hui nodded. I'm just giving you a general direction. You can see how to operate it. Please rest assured, Master. This subordinate will definitely handle this matter properly. But although the auction needs some time to prepare, it will only be held within your sect, and I don't have much time. Therefore, the auction will be held 1 month later. 1 month? When Hui was slightly taken aback. He hesitated. Master, can the almighty senior behind you send these treasures to the eastern wilderness in such a short time? This is not a question you need to ask. Ordinary almighties cannot do it, but the one behind me may be able to do it. Hearing this, when Hui could not help but respect Tsing Hui even more. He hurriedly said, I will arrange it as soon as possible. Yes, the news of the Green Lotus Sword sect's inauguration ceremony has already been sent out. It cannot be changed halfway. Therefore, it is very likely that you will soon take over the position of sect leader of the Green Lotus Sword sect. You do not have much time left. You need to arrange it as soon as possible. Yes. When Hui respectfully replied. Then, he glanced at Tsing Hui and hesitated for a moment. Master, Senior Nen Shun sent me a message just now. He said that he hopes that Master will not reveal what happened to the Green Lotus Sword sect. Oh? Does he want to keep it a secret? He does not want the world to know that the Green Lotus Sword sect has lost 3 true energy boundary experts. With so many witnesses, how can he hide it? It is naturally impossible to hide it completely. However, they can mislead others by releasing false information. During this period, some words may damage Master's reputation. That is why they specially asked me to apologize to Master. They are willing to let Master enter the treasury of the Green Lotus Sword sect and choose a treasure as compensation. Very good. Tell him that I agree. Tsing Hui said. As one of the 10 great sects, the Green Lotus Sword sect naturally had many good things in its treasury. Even if Nan Shun and the others might have stored the most precious divine weapons in advance, they would not go too far. They believed that he would be able to gain something from it. And what he had to pay was that he could not use this battle to make his name known to the world. He did not particularly care about this. He did not wish for the news of the death of the 3 great elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect to spread, which would lead to other organizations targeting the Green Lotus Sword sect. As a result, his plan of plundering all the treasures of the Green Lotus Sword sect in the next month or 2 would be destroyed. Translator, Transan editor, Transan editor, Transan translator, Transan editor, Transan translator, Transan editor, 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 Transan. Chapter 372. 3 supreme elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect had fallen at once, which naturally caused a series of internal turmoil. As the culprit of all this, the people of the Green Lotus Sword sect dared to be angry with him, but did not dare to say anything. However, in addition to anger, there was more fear. Tsing Hui, through the blood of the 3 supreme elders, coupled with the battle record of defeating 2 true element boundary ancestors, had completely defeated the entire Green Lotus Sword sect, causing the upper echelons of the Green Lotus Sword sect to be terrified of his existence. Once he was mentioned, all of them were silent like cicadas in winter. Fortunately, due to the strong rise of the sect master, when Hui as the middle link, the panic of the Green Lotus Sword sect did not spread. Even as the Green Lotus Sword sect continued to pacify the disciples of the sect, coupled with when Hui's rapid lobbying, he roped in a group of people to stabilize the order of the sect. In the end, the Green Lotus Sword sect gradually settled down and continued to prepare for the upcoming succession ceremony. The only difference was that in the previous succession ceremony, the successor of the sect master was the genius of the Dong family, Dong Yu. But now, it was the new genius who had stepped into the prominent domain stage and condensed the White Tiger sacred body, Wen Hui. As for the genius who had almost taken over the throne of the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect. This is the treasure you obtained by chance from that cave residence? In a secret room of the Wen family, Tsing Hui looked at the battered and exhausted Dong Yu and asked slowly, It's all here, it's all here? I didn't dare leave a single thing behind. Great Elder of Qing Su, you're a divine dragon that soars above the 9 heavens, so please don't lower yourself to the same level as an ant like me. I'm willing to give you anything you want, as long as you spare my life. Dong Yu stood in front of Tsing Hui, trembling with fear, his face full of horror. A treasure with only 6 Dao auras? Tsing Hui's expression gradually turned cold. Even though the legacy I obtained contained 103 items that contain the aura of ways, I used 62 of them to raise the level of the chaotic realm. I used the remaining 41 to bribe Great Elder Shin Qin into supporting me as the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect, and I used a total of 20 items that contain the aura of ways to bribe Great Elder Huabalian and the remaining 22 to bribe 3 Great Elders, including Huabalian. It was exactly because of these items that the Great Elders spared no effort in supporting me as the sect master of the Green Lotus Sword sect. If Great Elder Qing Su doesn't believe me, I'm willing to confront Elder Huabalian face to face. Dong Yu hurriedly, he did not dare to hide anything. A treasure with 103 Dao auras. That's already a level of chaos. You wasted it just like that. Tsing Hui glanced at Dong Yu and then at the items he'd taken from the Son of Chaos. Since I can't get enough treasures from you, I can only start with your chaos method. Do you need me to force you to do it myself? This is my chaos method. Dong Yu's expression was mournful. He hesitated for less than a moment before suppressing the unwillingness in his heart and quickly offered up his chaos method. Tsing Hui pinched the chaos method and tested it. After confirming that it was correct, he nodded slightly. Seeing that Dong Yu was so tactful, he couldn't continue to kill him. Since I promised you that I wouldn't kill you, I naturally won't go back on my word. However, the Green Lotus Sword sect needs stability. I don't want any more competition for the sect master's throne. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. Thank you, Elder Tsing Hui. Thank you, Elder Tsing Hui. I will leave the Green Lotus Sword sect right now and ask to be exiled outside of the Green Lotus Sword sect. I will not affect Wenwei's rule in the Green Lotus Sword sect in any way. When Dong Yu heard that Tsing Hui was really willing to let him live, He was pleasantly surprised and bowed repeatedly. "You may leave." Sing Hui waved his hand. The main purpose of his visit to the Green Lotus Sword sect was to obtain enough Tao-carrying objects. As for the strife between the various families of the Green Lotus Sword sect, and the struggle between good and evil, he was too lazy to intervene. The Dong family may have been quite excessive to the Wen family, but when the Wen family had the upper hand back then, they were not polite to the Dong family either. This could be guessed from the Wen family's attitude after they gained power. After Dong Yu left, Sing Hui took out the many things he said he had obtained from an ancient cave residence. These things were indeed very old. Sing Hui made a little judgment based on his own experience. Among the 6 items, there were 3 that were still somewhat useful, namely a seed, a token, and a piece of bright gold essence. The remaining 3 were either too old and their effects had weakened to the point that they were of little use to him, or they had been damaged internally and could not be used. I don't know what kind of plant this seed is, but even after tens of thousands of years, it still has a trace of vitality. Moreover, it's just a seed, but it gives me a faint sense of oppression. It's obviously unusual, but I don't know if it can be planted and grown. When my personal space reaches the 10th level, I might as well plant it in my personal space. As for the bright gold essence, it's a 12th level refining material. I can use it whenever I need to forge a sword. Even if I don't need to forge a sword, I can sell it for 12 Dao runes. Sing Hui glanced at it, and finally his eyes fell on the token. He had no idea what the medallion was forged from, so Qing Su was unable to tell its origins. However, from the profound aura it gave off, it was not difficult to guess that the medallion was definitely something extraordinary. If I have a chance, I can ask Firmament Master about it. As Qing Su said that, he was about to put the medallion away. But after a moment he seemed to think of something. If he remembered correctly, he still had an appraisal skill. Glancing at the mysterious seed of unknown origin and the token that was filled with a mysterious aura, he directly activated the identification technique and landed it on the token. After a moment, an extremely simple message appeared in his mind. Although the message was as simple as a name, Sing Hui's eyes lit up. Token of the World of Battle? This is actually a token of the World of Battle? The token of the World of Battle was an indispensable treasure to launch a war against the chaos. It could only be produced in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. Such a treasure was of little value to the small chaos organizations. Even if it was sold for 10 Tao auras, the small chaos organizations would not be willing to buy it. However, for the large chaos organizations, the first-class chaos organizations, and even the top chaos organizations, the token of the World of Battle was an indispensable strategic material. Almost every large chaos organization would prepare 1 to 3 tokens of the World of Battle as a backup. Even if Sing Hui took this token of the World of Battle to the auction, he might not be able to sell it at the price of 100 Tao auras of the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. However, if he set it at 80 or 90 Tao auras, he believed that many people would rush to buy it. Good stuff. I didn't expect it to be a token of the World of Battle. It's easy to sell. I'll keep it just in case. When the time comes, if I lack Tao auras, I'll sell it directly. Sing Hui smiled. Although he missed Dong Yu's 98 Tao auras, he could more or less make up for the loss of those Tao auras by getting a token of the World of Battle. Only the core experts of the large chaos organizations are qualified to hold the token of the World of Battle. In the ancient divine wilderness, the production of Tao auras was not much. It is said that it was only about 50% of the present. Therefore, the number of sons of chaos above level 25 was also very small. In addition, at that time, the cultivation level was very high. Those who could be called powerful people were often the kind who had condensed the divine real body and were invincible giants who could move freely in the void and create a world with a thought. From this point of view, and according to the market at that time, this token of the World of Battle might belong to an expert who had condensed the divine real body. The value of that mysterious seed is estimated to be similar to the token of the World of Battle. Sing Hui smiled faintly. It was a pity that his appraisal technique was only at the first level. If he wanted to find out the name of the mysterious seed, He would have to wait until the cooldown of the appraisal technique tomorrow. As for the detailed effects of the mysterious seed, he would need to have a 4th or 5th level appraisal technique, or even a higher level appraisal technique. The matter of the Green Lotus Sword sect will soon have a result. At that time, there will be hope for dozens or even hundreds of Tau auras. But before that, I have to go to the Heaven Wasteland world again to prepare more White Tiger Blood Essence. The White Tiger Blood Essence has a significant cultivation effect for more than 80% of the cultivators of the Green Lotus Sword sect. With this thought, Xing Hui formed a primal chaos seal and projected his consciousness into the Chaos Temple. Less than a moment after arriving at the Chaos Temple, Nalan Fei unexpectedly appeared in Xing Hui's personal space. She happened to run into Xing Hui and couldn't help but reveal a smile on her face. "Xing Hui, you happen to be here. I have good news to tell you." After a discussion between the Hunyuan Heaven Sect Master and the Supreme Elders, they plan to officially confer me the Deputy Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect in half a month. Moreover, the authority given to me is extremely high, almost reaching the level of the second Deputy Sect Master, second only to Jesu. I know that the reason why the Hunyuan Heaven Sect thinks so highly of me is because of you. I hope you can come and support me. Oh, the second Deputy Sect Master? Xing Hui had just suppressed the entire Green Lotus Sword sect by himself, so his awe of the 10 great sacred sects had greatly decreased. Although the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was much stronger than the Green Lotus Sword sect, and had recently joined the Sword Shadow, one of the 10 great chaos organizations, he still looked down on the second Deputy Sect Master. But seeing that Nalan Fei was happy, he naturally wouldn't dampen her spirits. "Okay, I will be there. Then I can rest assured. Without your support, I really feel a little guilty." Nalan Fei smiled. "When will you come over? I will make arrangements." Half a month was already a little tight, and Xing Hui couldn't delay. "I am now in the Green Lotus Sword sect, and will set off in about 8 or 9 days. I should arrive at the Hunyuan Heaven Sect 4 or 5 days in advance." "Okay, Great Elder Xing Hui, I will be waiting for your arrival at the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. I am just a little Deputy Sect Master. I will have to ask Great Elder Xing Hui to take care of me in the future." Xing Hui looked at Nalan Fei, who was in such a good mood that she was even joking with him, and couldn't help laughing. "I dare not. You are someone who has the potential to become the sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect in the future. How can a little alliance master like me compare to you?" "I am still far away from being the sect master. I don't have the confidence to compete for the position of sect master." "Okay, you remember this matter. I have to inform the others one by one." Xing Hui nodded. The busy Nalan Fei didn't stay in his personal space for long and quickly left. "I have to go to Heaven Wasteland as soon as possible and bring back the things I need to buy. After using the incarnation technique, I will be weak for several days." Xing Hui thought to himself. At the same time, he contacted Gong Xing and Jin Yu. He had the chaos cultivation methods of the 2 10th Order Sons of Chaos, one for each of them. He could sell them at the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce and Miaoyu Pavilion. If all goes well, he will receive 100 Dao runes, and he will be able to gather the Dao runes of the Illuminating Sun Sutra. Chapter 373. Senior Dong Yang, we've verified your chaos cultivation formula. We can prepare the Dao vessel for you now. Would you like to exchange it for goods or give you a Dao vessel with 50 Daoist rhymes? Gong Xing asked respectfully as he stood in front of Xing Hui in the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce. He seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly added, "By the way, Senior Dong Yang, we found the Torch Dragon bloodline cultivation item you asked me to look out for. It's a portion of Torch Dragon blood essence. Although it hasn't reached the Saint Realm, the price is slightly higher." "Torch Dragon blood essence? What's the price?" "It requires 60 Daoist rhymes." 60 Daoist rhymes? Xing Hui frowned. 60 Daoist rhymes for a portion of Saint Realm Torch Dragon blood essence was indeed a little high, but considering that it wasn't easy to obtain it, he had no choice but to agree. "I'll take 60 Daoist rhymes." "All right, I'll report this to the Chamber of Commerce. They'll send someone to deliver the Torch Dragon blood essence soon." We've successfully auctioned off the Eternal Flower for 184 Taoist rhymes. Senior Dong Yang, you'll know this if you do some research. Since the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce didn't charge a fee for this auction item, we still need to give Senior Dong Yang 34 Taoist rhymes after deducting the 150 Taoist rhymes deposit, plus the 50 Taoist rhymes for the Chaos Cultivation formula. We need to pay Senior Dong Yang a total of 84 Taoist rhymes. Since Senior Dong Yang wants to buy the Torch Dragon Blood Essence, we need to deduct 60 Taoist rhymes. In the end, we need to pay Senior Dong Yang 24 Taoist rhymes. Senior Dong Yang, is that correct? Very correct, but you don't need to rush to give me the Dao vessel items. I have a list of items here. Take a look and see how many Dao vessels you need. Gong Xing accepted the list from Qing Su. When he saw that the list was filled with class 5, 6, and 7 weapons, armors, flying swords, and so on, he was extremely confused. He had no idea why this elder Dong Yang was buying so many things, but he did not ask about it. He understood after a simple calculation, the most expensive item here is the White Tiger's Essence Blood. The White Tiger is a saint beast, but it's one of the 6 saints. The essence blood of a class 12 White Tiger Saint Beast might not be as valuable as a divine beast, but it's still quite expensive. It'll probably cost around 5 rhymes of ways. As for the rest, I can give Senior Dong Yang 10 rhymes of ways. Sure. Xing Hui nodded slightly. Senior Dong Yang, I see that among the things you need to buy, there are also some great sun crystals. Pardon me for asking, but do you still need any Golden Crow bloodline cultivation treasures? Do you have it? Gong Xing nodded and said, we have a Saint-level Gold Crow blood essence. A Saint-level Gold Crow blood essence? Xing Hui's eyes lit up. It seems that the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce has gotten a lot of good things this time. Not only do you have Torch Dragon blood essence, but you also have Golden Crow blood essence. How much is this Golden Crow blood essence? In fact, there are more cultivators of the Golden Crow bloodline than the Torch Dragon bloodline, so the price isn't low. Fortunately, for some reason, the Torch Dragon bloodline is rare in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, but the blood essences of the Golden Crow, Qilin, Kunpeng, Chaos, and other divine beasts are common. It's because of this reason that the cultivation system of these divine beasts has become the mainstream on our continent. Because of the abundant supply, although there are many buyers of the Golden Crow blood essence, it's cheaper than the Torch Dragon blood essence. 55 Tao rhymes is enough. 55 Tao rhymes, huh? Xing Hui hesitated for only a moment before he made his decision. I'll take it. His Golden Crow bloodline had already reached the crucial stage of breaking through to the true energy realm. If he could consume the Golden Crow blood essence, breaking through to the Saint First layer would be a piece of cake. If everything went smoothly, his cultivation would even surpass the True Energy Realm primary stage and step into the True Energy Realm intermediate stage, laying down a solid foundation for his cultivation in this realm. As you wish, Senior Dong Yang. Gong Xing smiled when he saw Xing Hui agree. How many portions of Golden Crow blood essence does Senior Dong Yang intend to buy? How many portions of Golden Crow blood essence did your Galaxy Chamber of Commerce get? This, a total of 6 portions. In fact, it's because the Lord behind our Galaxy Commerce purchased a rank 10 Golden Crow from the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. However, that Golden Crow cub was not afraid of death and was unwilling to submit. In the end, the Lord had to personally kill the Golden Crow cub before it was completely destroyed. He extracted 6 portions of essence blood from the Golden Crow's body to make up for the loss of this transaction. A level 10 Golden Crow divine beast. Xing Hui sucked in a breath of cold air. It was not because of the level of the Golden Crow divine beast, but because of the price. One had to know that an unhatched egg of chaos required 300 Tao rhymes. If it was successfully hatched, it would at least double the price. As for a level 10 Golden Crow divine beast, even if it had not reached adulthood and become a true divine beast, it would definitely cost more than 1,000 Tao rhymes. The reason why Xing Hui was shocked was because of the myriad star sex boldness. Using more than 1,000 Tao rhymes to bet on a chance to tame a baby Golden Crow. That was really a big deal. Unfortunately, they failed. A baby golden crow with at least 1,000 Dao rhymes was only able to save 6 portions of golden crow blood essence. Even though the Myriad Star sect was one of the top sects in the Infinite Wasteland world, it was still a huge loss. 6 portions of golden crow blood essence. Xing Hui rubbed his forehead. 1 portion of golden crow blood essence required 55 Dao rhymes. 6 portions would be 330 Dao rhymes. This was not something he could swallow in one go. Just give me 1 portion. As Xing Hui spoke, he took out another chaos technique that he had originally planned to sell through the Miaoyu Pavilion. This is also an inheritance technique of a level 10 Son of Chaos. Go and verify it. Yes, I'll send someone to verify it. As Gong Xing spoke, a man of the true energy realm soon arrived. After bowing respectfully to Xing Hui, he took the chaos technique and verified it. Not long after, he nodded to Gong Xing, Senior Dong Yang, your chaos technique has been verified. It is indeed a level 10 Son of Chaos. Do we directly give you the Dao rhymes or deduct it from this transaction? Deduct it from this transaction. As Xing Hui spoke, he joked to Gong Xing, although I'm trying my best to obtain Dao rhymes, no matter how many Dao rhymes I obtain in the end, I will still contribute everything to the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce. It seems that the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce is still the most profitable business. Gong Xing hurriedly smiled apologetically. Senior Dong Yang, you must be joking. We're just doing a resale business to earn some hard work. How can we compare to you, Senior Dong Yang, who can easily obtain hundreds of Dao rhymes? Well, prepare the things for me immediately. Yes, after deducting the price of the drop of golden crow blood essence, we still need to compensate Senior Dong Yang with 4 Dao rhymes. Is that right? A trace of helplessness appeared on Xing Hui's face. He originally thought that after selling the 2 chaos techniques, the Illuminating Sun Sutra, and the Saint Realm cultivation method, it would be enough. Now, it seemed that he would have to continue delaying it. Moreover, as his cultivation increased, the consumption of these resources would increase. Once he reached the Saint stage, ordinary resources wouldn't be able to satisfy his consumption. At that time, the speed of his cultivation would become 10 times slower. Not to mention cultivating from the marrow cleansing realm to the peak of the prominent Saint stage in a few years, crossing over 10 large and small realms, just one realm alone would take a few years, or even a dozen years, or even a few decades. That's it. Prepare a set of goods for me, but it's not too far away. There was a hint of joy on Gong Xing's face. He hurriedly said, yes, it just so happens that our Red Cloud Chamber of Commerce has a transaction. We need to send a set of goods to the Thunder Continent. The reward is 12 Dao rhymes. Senior Dong Yang, and prepare the goods together. Gong Xing nodded and quickly retreated. Red Cloud City was different from Martial Desolate City. It was closer to the headquarters of the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce. In less than half a day, the headquarters of the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce had already helped Xing Hui deliver many flying swords, divine weapons, divine beasts, and Saint Beast's blood essence. Xing Hui inspected them, and after confirming that there were no errors, he nodded and then directly dissipated the incarnation. His avatar dispersed. Even though he was rather weak, Qing Su still left his consciousness in the Chaos Divine Hall. He took a look at the Taoist item on him. Including the 16 Taoist rhymes he had just obtained, he had a total of 81 Taoist rhymes. The Taoist rhymes in the Creation Divine Jade had increased from the 8 Taoist rhymes he had left when he raised the Chaos level to the 37th level to the current 62 Taoist rhymes. He was still 38 Taoist rhymes away from being able to raise the Chaos level to the 38th level. He still needed another month. The supply of goods is in the hands of others. If I want to make a profit by reselling the goods in other people's hands, I'm bound to be exploited. Moreover, I'm only secretly selling these things in the Eastern Wilderness, and the scale can't be considered large. After occupying the Green Lotus Sword sect, I'll gradually start to disturb the prices in the Eastern Wilderness. It will inevitably infringe on the interests of those chaos organizations, and the trouble that will follow will not be small. Not only did he not make enough money, but he also had to face the suppression of other chaos organizations, Ching Su fully experienced the difficulty of obtaining some items that could carry the way. I still have to take more private jobs. Tsing Hui muttered to himself. The next moment his figure flashed, and he directly appeared in the public area open to all members of the Primordial Chaos Trade Union. At this moment, among the few sons of chaos in the Primordial Chaos Trade Union, only Xen Long was in the public area. Seeing Tsing Hui arrive, Xen Long hurriedly got up and bowed. Tsing Hui nodded. Have any suitable traders been selected recently? Our Primordial Chaos Trade Union hasn't made a name for itself in the Chaos Temple, so there aren't many people who are willing to take the initiative to trade with us. Even if some traders come in contact with our Primordial Chaos Trade Union with the intention of giving it a try, they basically won't make any profit. It's better to be like the Voidwalkers, delivering goods for others. No, Tsing Hui frowned. He had obtained a portion of Torch Dragon Blood Essence. With this Torch Dragon Blood Essence, the cultivation of the Illuminating Sun Sutra to the prominent divine stage was no longer a problem. Next, the cultivation method of the Illuminating Sun Sutra to the Saint stage was imminent. If he still couldn't obtain enough resources to buy the Illuminating Sun Sutra after refining the Torch Dragon Essence Blood and the Golden Crow Essence Blood, then he would have to sell the Battle Realm token. Alright, you guys continue. If there are any suitable traders, inform me as soon as possible. Yes, Xen Long respectfully responded. However, after responding, he seemed to be a little hesitant. Sir, in fact, an elder of the Life League has submitted a trader with astonishing returns, but the process of the mission is not only very dangerous, but the probability of failure is also extremely high. There is a 90% chance that it will be a wasted trip. Astonishing returns? How so? No less than 200 Taoist rhymes. Xen Long said heavily. Tsing Hui's eyes lit up when he heard this. Chapter 374. 200 Tao Rhythms? Are you telling the truth? Only more, no less. Xen Long replied solemnly. Where is the information? I need detailed information on this commission. Please wait for a moment, Lord, I'll get it for you. However, this commission is indeed very dangerous. If you're not careful, you'll lose everything, so please be careful. Xen Long said, and very quickly sorted out a set of information and handed it to Tsing Hui. The trader is the young lady of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, one of the 3 largest chambers of commerce in the Hidden Sword Continent. The Hidden Sword Continent? Tsing Hui had never heard of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, but he had some impression of the Hidden Sword Continent. This is a medium-sized continent that is extremely close to the Heaven Wasteland domain? Yes. The Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is only 9 million kilometers away from the Heaven Wasteland domain. 9 million kilometers. Tsing Hui could not help but frown. How far was 9 million kilometers? A powerful figure using a 12th order flying sword could reach an astonishing speed of 10,000 kilometers per hour. Some cultivators who had awakened the bloodline of the Kuan Peng and possessed auxiliary secret techniques could fly even faster. Of course, even powerful existences like powerful figures could not have endless vital yuan in their body, and it was impossible to maintain a top speed of 10,000 kilometers per hour. However, if the level of recovery was high enough, and supplemented with some medicine, it was easy to reach a speed of 6,000 kilometers per hour. In other words, if a powerful figure wanted to cross the sea, it would only take 2 or 3 months to fly from the Heaven Wasteland domain to the Hidden Sword Continent. Even if it was easy to fly over using a 12th order flying weapon, it would take about 5 or 6 months. This kind of distance was nothing to the top powerful figures of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Even if those powerful figures were too lazy to travel, they could send down a powerful main battle avatar to the Hidden Sword Continent to compete with the cultivators of the Hidden Sword Continent at a relatively low cost. For the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce to become one of the 3 largest chambers of commerce on such a large continent. The water was very deep. Tell me more about it. The Hidden Sword Continent is different from the East Wasteland domain. Although the East Wasteland domain is a medium-sized continent, it is considered one of the weaker ones among the medium-sized continents. It is only because it is rich in Tao-carrying items that it attracted the intervention of several large chaotic organizations. However, the Hidden Sword Continent, although it is a medium-sized continent, it is extremely powerful and is close to the peak of medium-sized continents. There are hundreds of Endless Realm and Golden Core Realm experts on this continent. What is even more shocking is that the continent has already given birth to a powerful figure. And the ancestor behind the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is one of the 6 disciples. There's a powerful figure. Xing Hui was somewhat surprised. A continent that had a powerful figure overseeing it was really not something that the East Wasteland domain could be compared to. Unlike the situation of the 10 great sacred sects of the East Wasteland domain, the Hidden Sword Continent is dominated by one sect. The powerful figure who was born on the Hidden Sword Continent has already completed the unification of the Hidden Sword Continent and established a sect called the Hidden Sword Sect. The Hidden Sword Continent was also changed according to the sect of the One Sword Sect. This sect has ruled the Hidden Sword Continent for thousands of years. Logically speaking, a continent that has given birth to a powerful figure and has completed the unification should not be interfered with by anyone else. However, the problem is that the production of Tao aura on this continent is not low. Furthermore, the Hidden Sword Sect's sword Venerable Hidden Sword is about to die. Of course, I personally feel that the most important reason is that the Hidden Sword Continent is too close to the Heaven Wasteland domain. It is so close that if the level of the incarnation technique of a Saint Realm expert is high enough and is willing to send down a main battle avatar, the main battle avatar will possess the realm of a powerful figure. Send down a main battle avatar with the battle strength of a powerful figure? Xing Hui's expression changed slightly. Every powerful figure's divine ability is a divine ability seed condensed from their own golden core. There is only one divine ability seed. Not to mention whether or not the main battle avatar can bring the divine ability seed to other continents. If the main battle avatar that carries the divine ability seed is killed and the divine ability seed is shattered, the consequences are enough to cause the cultivator's realm to drop. Would those Saint Realm experts dare to take such a risk? I wouldn't dare, but it's a powerful deterrent. It's enough to deter the local almighties of the Hidden Sword Continent from acting rashly. After all, if a Saint Stage expert really sends down a prime battle avatar that carries a divine ability seed, ordinary almighties who have condensed divine abilities are no match for it at all. Continue. Xing Hui said. Because of this, and because the Hidden Sword Continent has produced a good output of Tao objects over the years, the Hidden Sword Continent has been targeted by 2 chaos organizations. A chaos organization that has a Saint Realm expert, and if they want to send down a main battle avatar that has the power of a powerful figure, they need a higher level of avatar technique. They must be the top chaos organization. Yes, these 2 chaos organizations are the Highest Supreme and the Heavenly Way. They do not dare to violate the unspoken rules established among the many organizations of Heaven Wasteland domain and openly interfere in the affairs of the Hidden Sword Continent, but they secretly support the Aurora Peak and the North Moon Peak, 2 of the 36 peaks of the Hidden Sword Sect. They use the name of the Hidden Sword Sect to swallow up the production areas of the Hidden Sword Sect and fill their own pockets. Every year, the Hidden Sword Sect loses dozens of Tao auras. Half a year ago, the group of people from the North Moon Peak had already set their sights on the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. The Heavenly Way, the Highest Supreme. Xing Hui sighed. These 2 chaos organizations were not easy to deal with, especially the Heavenly Way, which was more powerful than the Sky Dome sect. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was the top force in the entire world. According to what you said, the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is going to be annexed? The ancestor of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is one of the 6 disciples of the Hidden Sword Supreme. How dare they attack the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce? Aren't they afraid of completely angering the Hidden Sword Supreme? First of all, the Hidden Sword Supreme has lived for more than 2,800 years and has been a great expert for more than 1,000 years. He is nearing the end of his life. Second, the ancestor of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, who is also the disciple of the Hidden Sword Supreme, Great Sword Sect Su Hui, has died 600 years ago. In addition, the Great Sword sect Su Hui has no successor and the younger generation in the family is getting worse and worse. A few years ago, the Hidden Sword Supreme allowed the descendants of the Great Sword sect Su Hui to enter the Hidden Sword Peak where he cultivated and at the same time to observe and give guidance. However, these descendants are too useless. Not to mention the divine grade battle body, there are only a few who can cultivate the divine grade battle body. Moreover, the few who have cultivated the divine grade battle body can't be considered a true divine grade battle body. As time passed, the Hidden Sword Supreme became more and more disappointed and their friendship naturally faded. Looks like this is the Grand Elder's first test. Xing Hui soon saw through the North Moon Peak's true intentions. The Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce has been relying on the identity of the Great Sword sect Su Hui to develop their influence to the extreme. 300 years ago, they were the uncrowned king of the various chambers of commerce on the Hidden Sword continent. However, because they have gradually declined, they were overtaken by the latecomers and became one of the 3 major chambers of commerce. Over the countless years, the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce has collected a lot of Taoist charms from the Hidden Sword continent. The Taoist charms contained in these Taoist charms must be no less than 200, but the entire Su family basically doesn't have any decent experts. The most powerful ones are said to be only a few transcendent experts. As for the direct descendants of the Great Sword sect Su Hui, there are only 2 left due to various reasons. One is the young lady of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, the client, Su Xiao, and the other is her underage younger brother. Now, the young peak of the North Moon Peak, Beiyue Xian, has proposed to Su Xiao. The young peak master of the North Moon Peak, Beiyue Xian, must have used some other methods when he proposed, right? Otherwise, the young lady of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce could have directly refused. Naturally, the North Moon Peak has secretly received the support of the Heavenly Tao, and their influence has soared. They've used all sorts of methods to suppress the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, making it difficult for the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce to develop. They've even bribed the founding members of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce to force Su Xiao to agree. After all, the founding members all know that the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is declining. They all need to find a new backer for themselves, and the North Moon Peak is clearly one of the best candidates. The young lady of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is also at her wit's end, which is why she's placed her hopes on our Primordial Chamber of Commerce. Xen Long paused slightly. Of course, we're only one of the people she's chosen. She's probably asked for help from many people, but this matter doesn't just involve the Heavenly Tao. The Hidden Sword sect itself is extremely powerful. Even if ordinary powerful figures send down their main battle avatars to help Su Xiao, they won't be able to escape the fate of being killed by the experts of the North Moon Peak. Xing Hui nodded. This mission, there was indeed no hope of completing it. Su Xiao promised that as long as anyone can protect the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce for them, she's willing to give them 90% of the Tao-carrying items that the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce has accumulated over the years as a reward. The total amount is no less than 200 Tao-carrying items. Why doesn't she give these items to the Hidden Sword Venerable? Not to mention meeting the Hidden Sword Venerable, the Hidden Sword Venerable will at most take care of her because of her identity as the descendant of Su Hui. The Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce can't escape the fate of being annexed. The more important problem is that the Hidden Sword Venerable no longer cares about worldly affairs due to his old age. He's been in seclusion in the deepest part of the Hidden Sword sect, the Hidden Sword Peak. It's hard for ordinary people to even see him. Furthermore, most of the founding members of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce have been bribed. She doesn't even have the ability to meet the Hidden Sword Venerable now. Can't meet the Hidden Sword Venerable? Xing Hui shook his head. This young Mistress Su is really in a miserable state. Among the people that Su Hui has accumulated, no one is willing to help them? In the past 600 years, the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce has encountered many crises. The favors left behind have long been used up. Furthermore, the Su clan is clearly lacking in manpower and is on the verge of decline. who would be willing to offend the North Moon Peak for the sake of a divine grace chamber of commerce that is destined to decline. As a result, unless someone from the younger generation of the Sioux clan can rise up and attract the attention of the upper echelons of the Hidden Sword sect and lend them a helping hand, or if they can pass through the Myriad Swords Peak and cause 10,000 swords to whistle through the air and awaken the Hidden Sword Venerable who is in seclusion, no force can reverse the fate of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of this, Exen Long shook his head slightly. However, this is impossible. Although young Mistress Su Xiao is talented, most of her talents are concentrated in business management. It's because of her talent in business that the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce hasn't fallen out of the top 3 chambers of commerce. Her talent in cultivation is also lacking compared to the others in the Hidden Sword continent. After cultivating for more than 30 years, she seems to have just stepped into the realm of spirit and chi as one. As for her younger brother, although he's 16 years old, because he was assassinated when he was young, he became a fool. His intelligence is even lower than a 3-year-old child's. Hence, the fate of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce is already set. Wait, 16 years old? He was assassinated when he was young and became a fool? Chapter 375. Exen Long's words stunned Tsing Hui. Yes, Su Zhao's brother Su Yuan is indeed a fool. If he can't be cured, he won't be able to carry on the family legacy. The Su family's direct bloodline will probably end here. This is one of the reasons why the North Moon Peak wants to attack the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. Qing Su nodded. All right, I understand. I'll take a closer look at the information from now on. Then, if you need anything, please call me again. Wait a moment. Ask Heaven's Inquisition to come here. Exen Long was stunned. Could it be that Heaven's Inquisition was going to take on this task? But many powerful figures had sent their main battle incarnations to the Hidden Sword sect, but they didn't get anything out of it. Unless there was a powerful figure with a superpower seed. However, only powerful figures in the Saint Realm could send down their incarnations with superpower seeds. And these incarnations only had the power of a powerful figure. If they were careless, they would be killed, and the superpower seed inside would be destroyed. Even for the Saint Realm Supreme figure, it would be a great loss. 200 Tao rhymes shouldn't be enough for them to take such a big risk. Exen Long was a little confused, but he wasn't a talkative person. He replied respectfully, "Yes, sir." Then he quickly left. Tsing Hui carefully read the information of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. Even though the profit this time couldn't be compared to the Chongzhen continent, 200 Tao rhymes was worth some effort. Greetings, Lord Pak Hui. Tsing Hui flipped through the information for a while. Heaven's Inquisition appeared in his personal space and bowed slightly. Lord Pak Hui, you've really shown off your power in the Green Lotus Sword sect. You've suppressed an entire sect by yourself. There are only a few people in the entire Eastern Wilderness who can compare to you. When the next Eastern Wilderness ranking comes out, Lord Pak Hui will definitely be in the top 10. Tsing Hui looked at Heaven's Inquisition. As expected of the Divination Pavilion. You're really well informed. He wasn't surprised that Heaven's Inquisition knew about this. Even though the Green Lotus Sword sect announced that Lady Pak Hui was subdued by Nanshun and Lian Hua, 2 true energy realm experts, we know the truth of the matter. However, the Green Lotus Sword sect really knows how to flatter themselves. If Lady Pak Hui is willing, we can spread the news for you and let your name spread throughout the Eastern Wilderness. There's no need. Do you think the 2 true element stage ancestors of the Green Lotus Sword sect would dare to spread the news without my permission? I've said too much. Tianwen nodded. Compared to before, Heaven's Inquisition's attitude towards Tsing Hui had changed quite a bit. Even though he was a member of the Pavilion of Divination and was outside of all the forces on the continent, he did not dare act as casually as before in the face of Tsing Hui, a ferocious figure who had single-handedly suppressed the entire Green Lotus Sword sect. He clearly paid more attention to his words. I wonder if there's anything I can help you with this time, Sir White Ruin? I need some information about the Hidden Sword sect of the Hidden Sword continent, mainly about the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce and the North Moon Peak. The Hidden Sword continent, the Hidden Sword Sect, the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, the North Moon Peak. Heaven's Inquisition paused for a moment, then thought of something. Lady Pakhui, have you received a request for help from Su Xiao, the eldest daughter of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce? Xing Hui recalled that Su Xiao had been desperate and had spread the news to almost half of the Chaos Divine Palace. It was reasonable that Heaven's Inquisition had also heard about it. That's right. Do you have any suggestions, Lord Heaven's Inquisition? Suggestions? To be honest, I don't really recommend Lady Pakhui to accept this mission. So far, for people have already accepted this commission, and without exception, all of them were powerful existences. However, without exception, all of these powerful existences had their prime battle avatars killed. One of the powerful existences was even found by his enemy when his prime battle avatar was killed. While he was severely weakened, he was killed on the spot. Even the sect behind him was uprooted as a result, and countless people were implicated. Is that so? Xing Hui frowned when he heard this. That's 200 Taoist rhymes. Yes, 200 Taoist rhymes is enough to tempt powerful existences. However, apart from descending their avatars according to the rules, which powerful existences would dare to truly enter the Hidden Sword Continent? If they really did so, it would be tantamount to breaking the rules jointly set by many chaos organizations. By then, there would be plenty of people who would be willing to kill them and take their assets and chaos-level items for themselves. Although the reward of 200 Taoist rhymes is good, one would need to be alive to enjoy it. Xing Hui nodded. Powerful existences would not dare to go in their true bodies. No matter how many avatars went, they would all die. As for the cultivators below the Golden Elixir realm, the North Moon Peak was not weak either, especially since the North Moon Peak was backed by the Heavenly Tao, which was a colossus. Even if those Golden Elixir realm cultivators who accepted the commission could suppress the North Moon Peak, once the Heavenly Tao behind the North Moon Peak intervened, what awaited those Golden Elixir realm cultivators was only the fate of destruction. Looks like this commission is really impossible to complete. Impossible. Unless a Saint Stage powerhouse appears, no one can save the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. However, which Saint Stage powerhouse doesn't have a family to feed? They may have the ability to save the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, but they have to consider the consequences of doing so. After all, the North Moon Peak is backed by one of the three most powerful chaos organizations in the Chaos Temple, the Heavenly Tao. Give me some information. I'll understand a little. If it's impossible, I won't force it. All right then. The matter of the Hidden Sword Continent caused quite a stir half a year ago, and there are quite a few people who know about it. It won't cost much, and a level 6 divine weapon will suffice. To your Excellency White Ruins, this is just a drop in the ocean. Heaven's Inquisition said, Sir Pakhui, please wait for a moment. Xing Hui replied. Soon, Heaven's Inquisition bowed and left. After waiting for less than half an incense stick's worth of time, Heaven's Inquisition had already reappeared in Xing Hui's personal space. He handed a document to him. This is the specific information we've collected about the Hidden Sword Continent. Of course, there's also detailed information about the North Moon Peak. However, the price will be much higher. If Sir Pakhui only wants to understand a little, I don't recommend that you spend a lot of money to buy this information. This is enough. I'll just take it as a show. It's indeed a show. This matter has caused a lot of trouble. We've studied it with our information channels and found that it's almost impossible to solve this matter from the outside. Our only hope is the Hidden Sword Venerable. If the Hidden Sword Venerable can appear at this time and protect the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce, everything will be over. After all, even the Heavenly Tao may not dare to let a Saint Stage giant send down an almighty incarnation to fight against the Hidden Sword Venerable. Once the incarnation is destroyed, it's equivalent to crippling a supreme Saint Stage giant. The loss is too great. Unfortunately, there are only two ways to get the Hidden Sword Venerable to appear. The first way is for the Su family to show enough value and then ask Su Hui's senior brothers and sisters to plead with the Hidden Sword Venerable. The second way is for the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce to give birth to a peerless genius. If he can cause the 10,000 swords to howl together, it will definitely alarm the hidden sword venerable who is in seclusion. At that time, he can naturally make this request to the hidden sword venerable. Go to the myriad swords peak, cause the 10,000 swords to howl together, and alarm the hidden sword venerable. Sing Hui's eyes fell on the information given by Tian Wen and quickly found the so-called 10,000 swords howling together. To find a 1-in-a-million sword genius? Yes. Tian Wen said in a joking tone. In fact, the Hidden Sword sect is one of the oldest large sects in the Hidden Sword continent. It existed long before the Hidden Sword continent was unified. It has been passed down for tens of thousands of years, dating back to the time when the Divine Wilderness was broken. Just like the Limitless Sword sect in the Eastern Wilderness, it is said that it has a mysterious inheritance from the Divine Wilderness. There has always been a rumor in the Hidden Sword sect that there is an ancient divine sword in the sect. If one can make the divine sword recognize him as its master, he will have infinite power. The Hidden Sword sect is famous because of this sword. The Hidden Sword Venerable set up the Myriad Swords Peak to find a sword genius who can make the divine sword recognize him as its master. Ancient divine sword? What ancient divine sword? Sing Hui asked curiously. Tian Wen shrugged. Who knows? This rumor has been passed down since ancient times. Back then, many powerful people were interested in it and deliberately snuck into the Hidden Sword sect to investigate. The elders of the Heaven's Secret Pavilion, in line with the principle of seeking truth from facts, also made a trip to the Hidden Sword sect. Unfortunately, after staying there for several years, they found nothing but a waste of time. 1,000 years ago, after the Hidden Sword Venerable broke through to the Transcendent Realm and became a powerful person, this rumor also spread for a period of time. After a period of time, some powerful people went to the Hidden Sword sect to investigate. Unfortunately, the result was the same. Now, probably no one believes this rumor anymore. Sing Hui's expression darkened when he heard this, faintly disappointed. But thinking about it, if there really was an ancient divine sword in the Hidden Sword sect, it would have been taken away by those top experts. The 9-million-kilometer journey would not be able to stop those powerful people who were tempted by the divine weapon. Even though this rumor is methodical, and it's even to the extent that the Hidden Sword sect has fabricated a few names and origins, but Sir Bai Su doesn't have to pay any attention to it. Any sect would fabricate some myths and legends for the sake of showing that their sect has a long history and an orthodox origin. The Hidden Sword sect is probably no exception. Just take the Myriad Sword Peak as a training ground for the Hidden Sword Peak to select geniuses in the Sword Dao. Sing Hui nodded. Unfortunately, he was not a sword genius. But with a trace of curiosity, he still asked, how can the Myriad Swords Peak make 10,000 swords roar together? What about the rumor that the ancient divine sword is methodical? It is said that the Myriad Swords Peak had more than 10,000 spiritual swords in its heyday. These spiritual swords are mediocre in power, but they are full of spirituality and can transform into human form. However, due to the theft of many powerful people out of curiosity, there are only about 100 spiritual swords left on the Myriad Swords Peak that can transform into human form. Although the others are not weak, they are just there to make up the numbers. The cultivator uses his blood mixed with qi to drip on the spiritual swords to activate them. The spiritual swords then transform into human form and compete with the cultivator. During the competition, the cultivator must borrow the power of the Myriad Swords Peak to suppress their own cultivation. At most, they can only maintain the strength of the Awakening Realm, or even the Blood-Changing Realm. Otherwise, even if they defeat the Sword Spirit, it will be difficult to make the Sword Spirit submit. Tianwen paused for a moment. As for the ancient divine sword, some people call it the 7-star demon refining sword, while others call it the dragon abyss sword. According to the ancient records of the Hidden Sword sect, it is said to be a sword passed down by a Grand Supreme during the Divine Wilderness era. Chapter 376. 7 Stars Demon Refining Sword, Dragon Abyss Sword? Sing Hui was slightly taken aback by Heaven's Inquisition's words. Whether it was the Seven Stars Demon Refining Sword or the Dragon Abyss Sword, these two names sounded familiar to him. Especially, these two names were said to have been passed down by a person named Taisheng, which made him feel an incomparable sense of familiarity. Taisheng? In the myths and legends of ancient Huaxia on Earth, there was a powerful man named Lord Taisheng. He had many divine weapons and treasures in his hands. One of them was the Seven Stars Demon Refining Sword. According to the myths and legends of ancient Huaxia, this sword was once wielded by a demon and competed with another weapon, the Rui Jingu Bang, which could stabilize the sea. Could it be that the Seven Stars Demon Refining Sword was that ancient divine sword? Although it was inconceivable that the ancient divine sword in ancient Huaxia's legends would appear in this world, when he thought about the divine jade called creation that he had, Xing Hui could not help but let his imagination run wild. Looks like I'll have to investigate the hidden sword sect if I have the chance in the future. Xing Hui muttered to himself. After a while, his heart skipped a beat. If there was a chance, wasn't there now? Wasn't Su Yuan, the brother of Miss Su of the Su family from Xin Hui Trading Company, the best candidate? He was the second descendant of Su Hui, one of the 6 disciples of the Hidden Sword Venerable. Coincidentally, he was persecuted when he was young and his mind was not fully developed. If he could use the incarnation technique to descend into Su Yuan's body and inherit his identity, there was a great chance that he could sneak into the upper echelons of the Hidden Sword sect. If he was lucky enough to become the disciple of the Hidden Sword Venerable, on one hand, he could solve the crisis for Su Xiao and complete her mission to obtain 200 Taoist rhymes. On the other hand, he could get close to the Hidden Sword Venerable and plot the secret of the ancient divine sword. Thinking of this, Xing Hui could not help but have an idea. I'm afraid this will take some time. My doppelganger technique has undergone a special mutation and is now self-sufficient. Even if I maintain my doppelganger technique for a few years, 10 years, or even a few decades, it won't be a problem. The only drawback is that after my consciousness is split into two, whether it's cultivating, comprehending immortal techniques, fighting, or anything else, the efficiency of the main body will be greatly reduced. If it's an ordinary problem, it won't be a problem, but if there's a real danger, it will definitely be an opportunity for others to take advantage of. Therefore, I have to ensure that the surrounding environment is safe before plotting against the Hidden Sword sect and the ancient Godly Sword sect. Xing Hui thought. He ensured that his surroundings were safe and sound. He most likely did not have the opportunity to do so in a short period of time. He could only wait until the broken sword reached the eastern wilderness and brought him back to the heaven wasteland world. At that time, there would be more than a year on the road, which was enough for him to slowly build up his business. He only hoped that Miss Su Xiao would be able to hold on. Your Excellency Pak Hui, if there are no problems with the transaction, I will take my leave first. Heaven's Inquisition asked after handing over all the information to Xing Hui. Thank you. Xing Hui nodded slightly. Heaven's Inquisition quickly left. Then, Xing Hui did not stay in the Chaos Divine Temple any longer and returned to his main body. After returning to his main body, he stayed for a few more days. After his body had fully recovered from the weakened state caused by the doppelganger technique, he directly set off, leaving the Green Lotus Sword sect and heading in the direction of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. The banquet for Nayland Fei's appointment as deputy sect master would be held in a few days. As a supreme elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect who belonged to the Zhou family, he naturally had to appear to support Nayland Fei. After receiving the specific date of Xing Hui's arrival, Nayland Fei quickly made arrangements. For the higher-ups of the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect, Xing Hui's attendance at Nayland Fei's appointment banquet and his non-attendance represented two completely different meanings. If Xing Hui personally came, the supreme elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect would naturally have to attend the banquet as well, so as not to arouse the dissatisfaction of the supreme elder who had almost suppressed the entire Green Lotus Sword sect. If Xing Hui did not come, they would not bother to personally congratulate a junior, and would just send a disciple or subordinate over. Even the supreme elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect themselves were unaware that Xing Hui had unknowingly gained influence over the ordinary supreme elders in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the void, A figure was flying towards the Hunyuan Heaven sect at an extremely fast speed. Even though the Green Lotus Sword sect was over 20,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Qing Su possessed a Grade 9 flying sword. With the special recovery ability of a Grade 10 flying sword, the true qi in his body was endless. He could easily maintain a speed of 1,500 kilometers per hour. He only needed a day to reach the Hunyuan Heaven sect from the Green Lotus Sword sect. At most, he would be slightly uncomfortable with the atmospheric winds due to his higher speed. However, considering that time was of the essence, and that he had to immediately choose the Jinwu religion as his new target after plundering the Green Lotus Sword sect, he had no choice but to make the best use of his time. He did not want to waste too much time on the road. Flying all the way, Xing Hui quickly crossed the distance between the Green Lotus Sword sect and the Hunyuan Heaven sect. When he was less than 6,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he seemed to sense something and faintly felt that he was being spied on. However, when he carefully searched for this feeling, he could not figure out where it came from. Moreover, he had already entered the territory of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and his other identity was the Supreme Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. He did not think too much about it and continued to fly forward. But as he continued to move deeper into the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the feeling of being spied on did not decrease but instead grew stronger. When he was about 3,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the feeling of being spied on almost reached its peak. This time, Xing Hui could not help but turn a blind eye to it. Interesting, there are actually people who want to harm me, the Supreme Elder, in the territory of the Hunyuan Heaven sect? Xing Hui swept his gaze around, and with his powerful sensing ability, he quickly found the direction from which the feeling of being spied on came from. He immediately turned around, and the speed of his flying sword suddenly erupted. His entire person was accompanied by an ear-piercing sonic boom as he roared in the direction of the feeling of being spied on. On a tall tower built on a mountain peak, Xing Hui arrived amidst a powerful sonic boom. Before his figure arrived, the shockwaves that swept over had already caused the tower to rumble. The windows and tiles were all shattered into powder, and even the several cultivators in the tower were shaken to the point of dizziness. Spare me, my lord." Soon, there were panicked pleas for mercy from inside the tower. "Who are you people?" Xing Hui stood outside the broken windowsill and looked at the people inside the tower. The leader of these people was unexpectedly at the true Qi stage, and the rest had all reached the awakening stage without exception. They could be considered a strong force. "My lord, we are members of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Tianyuan division. We are responsible for monitoring the high-level cultivators who enter our Hunyuan Heaven sect territory abnormally to prevent them from invading our Hunyuan Heaven sect with malicious intentions." The true Qi stage man hurriedly explained. "Tianyuan division?" Xing Hui thought carefully. The Hunyuan Heaven sect did indeed have such a division, and the division's responsibility was just as the true Qi stage man had said. They were responsible for monitoring the cultivators who entered the Hunyuan Heaven sect territory abnormally. However, I don't think I need to explain my identity too much. You are our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Supreme Elder Xing Hui." The true Qi stage man raised his head and glanced at Xing Hui, somewhat cautiously asking, "Since you recognize me, why have you been monitoring me all this time?" The true Qi stage man hurriedly said in a trembling voice, "Supreme Elder Xing Hui, please spare my life. In fact, we only received orders from above saying that a sword light is approaching our Hunyuan Heaven sect territory at an unimaginable speed. We naturally recognize Supreme Elder Xing Hui, but according to what the higher-ups said, Elder's flying speed is too fast. It's so fast that before we could clearly see your appearance and completely recognize you, you had already left the range of those monitoring points. We can't completely confirm your identity, Supreme Elder Xing Hui, so we monitored you all the way." Xing Hui was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect this to be the reason. Flying too fast, ordinary cultivators wouldn't be able to confirm his identity even with the help of some extraordinary long-range viewing treasures. Glancing at the somewhat dilapidated surveillance tower in front of him, Xing Hui felt a little embarrassed. However, his status as a supreme elder made it difficult for him to say anything to these people. I see. Since you've already figured out my identity, you can report it. I don't want to be watched everywhere I go. As for the damage to this tower, you can also report it to the sect. Yes, thank you for your understanding, Supreme Elder Tsinghui. Tsinghui nodded and didn't say anything more to the true Qi stage man. His figure leaped up and once again flew in the direction of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. However, as he flew in the air for a while, he vaguely felt that something was wrong. Was the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Tianyuan division really so weak? Although his flying speed was very fast, reaching 1,500 kilometers per hour, it wasn't the kind of full speed where he ignored the consumption of true Qi. He merely maintained a relatively fast speed. 4 peak illustrious Saint stage experts who were proficient in speed and had a grade 7 flying sword, it wasn't difficult for them to reach or even surpass this speed. If the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Tianyuan division really couldn't identify him because he maintained a speed of 1,500 kilometers per hour, allowing him to enter a range of 4,000 kilometers away from the Hunyuan Heaven sect. The Hunyuan Heaven sect would have long been destroyed by a surprise attack like this. Something's wrong. Tsinghui's figure came to a halt. He turned around and planned to return to the surveillance tower to ask the true Qi stage cultivator in charge of the tower for the truth. However, just as he was about to turn around, a streak of light suddenly whizzed over from the horizon. Just as it was about to reach Tsinghui, it abruptly exploded, turning into a dazzling blue light that filled the surrounding 3,000 meters like a domain. In this domain, the air became extremely viscous, and Tsinghui felt as if he had fallen into a swamp. Sure enough, someone wants to deal with me. Tsinghui's figure shook as a dazzling sword light burst out from the grade 9 divine sword in his hand. It instantly tore through space and charged out of the swamp-like space. However, this delay had already allowed 12 figures, 4 in front and 8 behind, to rapidly rush over from all directions. The 4 figures immediately summoned a unique treasure in their hands. At the same time, they cooperated with the unique treasure in their hands and poured their power into the blue light, rapidly stabilizing the blue light that Tsinghui had torn apart. True element stage experts? 4 true element stage experts, and this is a formation? You're from the Create Evolve Mysterious sect? Sensing the mysterious power that sealed the space, Tsinghui's expression changed. He immediately understood the true identity of the newcomers. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.